A CBC color presentation.
Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Molson, brewers of Molson Export Ale and Molson Canadian Lager Beer, Imperial Oil, and Esso dealers, agents, and distributors. And Ford, the better idea company with better products for you.
The thoroughbred, an animal of spirit and desire, powerful, beautiful. Mercury Media for 1970, the car, the thoroughbred. Special in power because a V8 is standard in every model. When you say move, it moves. Mercury Media, the thoroughbred. Find out what it's like to have it all.
It's coming on strong.
Tonight, for the first time in the modern era of the National Hockey League, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens play a regular season Saturday night game in Montreal. Good evening, everybody. This is Dick Irvin, along with Danny Gallivan and Ted Darling, with a welcome to the Montreal Forum and tonight's Maple Leafs Canadiens encounter. This is the second meeting of the season between these two traditional rivals. Their first game in Maple Leaf Gardens, Toronto, on the night of October the 15th. We're going to take a look at the videotape highlights of that game now. It ended in a 2-2 tie. And here's the opening goal of the game, scored by Toronto's Britt Selby. In slow motion now, we see Selby take a drop pass from Mike Walton. Rogatien Vachon gets a piece of the puck, but cannot hang on to it. The Canadiens tied the score in a play engineered by Henry Richard, who passes to Mickey Redmond. And his shot eludes Bruce Campbell. The Maple Leafs then went ahead 2-1. In Canadiens territory, Murray Oliver outraces Serge Savard for the puck, passes to Paul Henderson, whose quick shot gives the Leafs that one-goal advantage. But the Canadiens came back with a third-period tying goal. Ted Harris, from in front of his own net, passed to Christian Bordelot, and he fed it across the ice to a fast-skating Ralph Backstrom, and Backstrom scored with a drive to the short side. That ended the scoring, and the game finished 2-2. Dickie Moore is going to join us as the analyst for tonight's game. He'll be along here in the broadcast booth between periods. We're looking for a very exciting contest. Hockey Night in Canada returns with the opening faceoff.
This may be the quietest room in the world. The room where Ford tested some of the world's quietest cars, and then built a Ford that was even quieter. The room where Ford developed a new kind of quiet and built it deep into the 1970 Ford. Deep into the interior. The frame. The body, the suspension, and built it to last, mile after mile. The quiet room, and the 1970 Ford. If you appreciate a great luxury car, take a quiet break in a 1970 Ford. Ford gives you better ideas. It's the going thing.
Greeting you from the broadcast booth at the Forum in Montreal, where the Leafs and the Canadiens are skating out on the ice for one of these rare Saturday night meetings here in Montreal. Toronto Maple Leafs are rounding out a road trip, and the Canadiens will go on one at the beginning of the week. And now, the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem.
The referee is John Ashley. Pat Chetler and Bob Myers are the linesmen. Montreal defending the area to our right. And that is on the right on your television screen, the north end. The Leafs to our left and the south end. The New York Rangers won another hockey game this afternoon, defeating Los Angeles by a score of 4-1. Now the game is underway with Keon at center, Smith on one wing and Oliver on the other wing for Toronto. Richard, Redmond, and Lemaire for Montreal. Into the corner for Oliver, deep in his own zone. Edwards is in goal for Toronto. It's dropped back. Horton has it. Horton clearing it is knocked down by Lemaire. Lemaire's shooting it, blocked by Horton. Harper going in, and Keon knocked it out over the line. Win for Toronto, clearing it ahead. Keon has it into the corner, being watched by LaPerriere. Richard couldn't come up with it. Keon again. Richard to Redmond. Redmond, a left wing pass. Lemaire going in against Horton, and Horton ties him up effectively. They fight for it on the boards to the right of Edwards. Scoring this afternoon for New York, Dave Ballone. He's having a tremendous year. Park, Hadfield, and Rattel. Now it's back near the point, and the Leafs start out with Oliver. Smith is coming up in the play. Oliver going in, and he has to go to the corner against Harper. Harper has it, cleared it for Richard. It's down the ice. Richard touches it, and it's called offside. For Los Angeles, they're one goal by Peters. No score here in the first minute of the opening period. LaPerriere cleared it to center. Horton ripped it back in there. Oliver moves in, number 11. Now Smith slides it off Richard's skate. Redmond into the corner. Keon giving Redmond some difficulty. They fall. It's hooked into the corner by Keon. Oliver bodied by Harper, and Lemaire starts out with Redmond and Richard for Montreal. Lemaire's shooting it. And that went off Horton's stick. Smith covering up. Richard racing after it, but Oliver has it for the Leafs. Pass goes off inadvertently. Lemaire's stick. Now Smith clearing it ahead for Toronto. Harper feeds it down on the right side. Redmond doesn't see it. And right at this particular time, they're checking closely. Here's Richard going in on that right side. Dory jams him out of the play. And behind the net is Ullman. Provo slid it ahead. Horton can't get it by Ferguson. Ferguson going in against Horton on the right side. Ellis cleared it out, and Harper brought it in, and it's an offside whistle.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Within every new Montego is the soul of the high-performance Cyclone. Montego, Cyclone. Two all-new lines of cars from Mercury.
Ullman at center. Ellis and Henderson on the wings for the Leafs. Backstrom, Provo, and Ferguson for Montreal. There's Dory in his own zone in the corner, working out slowly on the left side. Savard back into the Canadian zone, being watched by Henderson. Ullman going in to help out, and Provo for Montreal cleared it out. Canadians can't get anywhere against Henderson. Now Savard up on the left side for Harris, over on the right wing off the boards. Provo couldn't catch up with it. He takes Henderson in on the boards. Ferguson jammed out of the play. Now it's cleared up on the right side by Glennie. Ellis couldn't get out. Glennie for Toronto at center, hitting the Montreal line. Over on the right wing boards it goes to Ellis. He's knocked to the ice by Harris. Savard starting out for Montreal. Ferguson on the left side has the pass, and it's called on the offside.
The Maple Leafs tonight playing without Mike Walton, who is sitting out the second game of a 3-game suspension, and they're also missing defenseman Rick Lee, who has been sidelined with a knee injury. Toronto coach John McClellan was telling me before the game Lee could be out for from 6 to 8 weeks, and he was very upset with that turn of events. Tough break for the Leafs and for Ricky Lee. For the Canadiens, J.C. Tremblay still sidelined because of a wrist injury.
We've played 3 minutes and 15 seconds into the first period. There's no score. Harris hands it off to Savard, out to Provo, down with Backstrom and Ferguson. Ahead to Backstrom, and it's called on the offside. With the Ice Capades taking over at the Forum, the Canadiens will embark on a 4-game road trip. They play in Los Angeles Monday, Wednesday in Oakland, Saturday in St. Louis, and Sunday in Chicago. And they return a week from Wednesday to the Forum to play Detroit. The Leafs will wind up that rugged 5-game road trip with a game in Chicago tomorrow night. And then the Leafs at the Gardens on Wednesday night against Pittsburgh. Harper for Beliveau. He couldn't get by Quinn. LaPerriere shooting it in. Horton turns on the boards. Cournoyer, a weak shot to the side. Quinn into the corner. Selby ahead to Fulford. Here's McKinney on the right side for Toronto. Across the line, slides it to the other side, and Russo hands it off to Beliveau. Back to Russo, to Beliveau at the line. And Beliveau made that turn to the left, putting Russo offside. And now we've played exactly 4 minutes in the first period. No score. LaPerriere over to Harper. He hit Beliveau with a pass. Neither team has had a real good scoring opportunity so far in the game. Number 15, that's Selby, tied up by Cournoyer and Beliveau.
You notice Cournoyer out there with that face protector, football helmet type mask. He's protecting a recently broken nose. Hasn't hurt him in 2 games. Since his return, he has scored 2 goals.
Fulford centering off against Beliveau. And Selby moves to the other side. And defenseman Quinn with it for the Leafs. Getting set to set up a pass. It comes out to the line. Selby has it out over the line with McKinney and Fulford, the 3 of them at center. The long shot by Selby. Now it's back to Quinn along the boards. He shot it from the sharp angle, kicked out by Vachon. There's Quinn again shooting it. A backhand drive by McKinney. A loose puck on the rebound, and Cournoyer ahead to Beliveau. Beliveau flipping it in. Edwards hands it off to McKinney. Russo playing it back into the corner to Beliveau. Beliveau trying to center it. Cournoyer has it. Cournoyer shooting it to the side. And Edwards covering up for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
1970's best buy by far is Maverick. Easy to buy, easy to run, easy to drive, and real good fun. Plenty of room for long legs inside, holds lots of luggage, got a sure smooth ride. That's Maverick. Priced real low, there's no better buy than the 1970 Maverick. That's why you should go to your Ford or Mercury man just as soon as you possibly can and see Maverick. It's sure shooting is a great little car.
Lining up for the face-off to the left of Edwards, and it's grabbed off by Floyd Smith. Coming down with Oliver. Pass finally goes in the second time offside with Oliver across the line. Dick, and we'd like to extend congratulations right here to Johnny Bauer of the Toronto Maple Leafs, 45 today. I'm just quoting what they say in the guide. He's been a great campaigner over the years since he hit the National League, Johnny Bauer. There's Richard dropping it back to Ted Harris. Out it goes over the line. Richard is belted there by Glennie. A hard check by Glennie of Toronto against Richard, who went down heavily. Now Oliver doing some fine maneuvering there, and Redmond went into the boards after Oliver eluded him. It's icing called against Toronto. We've played 5 minutes and 29 seconds into the opening period, and there's no score.
Ron Andrews gave us some notes from the NHL office on that 45th birthday of Johnny Bauer. It means he is now entitled to collect his pension from now on if he desires. The first player still on the active roster of the team and eligible for a pension. There's the replay of that stiff check thrown at Richard by Glenn.
Puck in the lead zone. Dory gets it off the boards through center. And Harris back at his own line, being watched by Captain Keon. It's handed to Oliver. His shot goes into the corner. Savard in there against Keon. Lloyd Smith moving in. Now it's Glennie feeding it back in toward the corner. Glennie again. Backhands it in there, and the Leafs right on top of the Canadiens. Harris ahead. He missed his man with the pass. Leafs are back in there. A pass Oliver trying to get it over on the right wing. A lead pass for Lemaire off his stick. Smith back there for Toronto off the boards for Dory. Now Ted Harris trying to keep it in. Keon rolling ahead. Savard plays it on the board. And still, neither team with that real good scoring opportunity. Face off at the Leafs blue line. Ullman against Backstrom. We have Ullman, Ellis, and Henderson for Toronto. Backstrom, Ferguson, and Provo for Montreal. LaPerriere flipping it into the Leaf zone. Backstrom racing in there against Quinn. In on the boards, Henderson moves in too, and that gets a stoppage in play. We have a big crowd here tonight, and among this big Saturday night crowd is a happy group of 22 newspaper boys from the Halifax Chronicle-Herald. And for a hockey game, they were able to get 8 supervisors to come along with them. Now Provo, flipping it in there along the ice. Ullman gets it ahead. Horton feeds it up to Ellis. He got away from Ferguson. Ellis hitting that Montreal line over the line. Ferguson tried to line him up with a check, but he missed him. It goes to the far side. Provo is bodied by Henderson. LaPerriere ahead to Ferguson. He overskated the puck. Now it's Quinn coming to the line, in with Henderson offside on the left wing. Dick, there's a pretty good picture.
Right you are, Danny. Another group of youngsters in the crowd, not really youngsters by that term. The University of Manitoba basketball team in attendance here tonight. They won their game in Montreal last night against Loyola College.
7 minutes and 6 seconds have gone by in the first period. No score between the Leafs and the Canadiens. Harper in center shoots it in. Ferguson racing in against Ellis. There's Horton playing it to Normie Ullman up on the right side as Ellis. He has it, takes the shot. It goes off LaPerriere's stick in among the spectators.
Now there's Ron Ellis, who now has 7 goals to his credit this season. And, Danny, it seems to me he always plays well here in the Forum.
He's one of the hardest working hockey players in the league, a very talented right winger who is up and down. And, of course, he has that great shot. The Leafs, every man up for this face-off with Quinn and Horton in over the Canadian line. It's back off the boards. Ferguson is racing down the ice, but Quinn and Horton beat him easily. Horton getting it back out over the line. Harper shooting it in. Ferguson. And Horton getting a piece of him and knocking him off balance. The lead pass for Ullman. It's down the ice. Harper back there to touch it, and it's icing called against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
This is Ford's Cortina, a proven sales success with a race-bred Bolin piston engine for improved performance with no increase in fuel consumption. With 21 cubic feet of trunk space, room for 5 adults, and a rich vinyl interior. Cortina, a lot more car for import buyers. Discover Ford's Cortina, the big car with a small price tag at most Ford and Mercury dealers.
12-11 remaining in the first period, and so far this has been a very tame period of hockey. Now Ferguson gets a backhand shot, another shot, and it was blocked there by Quinn. Ferguson goes to the ice. Ellis kicked it back into the corner. Backstrom off the boards for Ferguson. Ferguson back to the point to LaPerriere. He winds up with a shot. Edwards kicked it out. Now the Leafs are starting out, led by Henderson. Ellis and Ullman with him, over to Ellis. The shot, and he's wide with it. Provo goes to the right wing boards, ahead to Backstrom. Backstrom flipped it to the Leaf line. Horton slapping it to center. LaPerriere trying to clear it across the line. Ullman for the Leafs. Bodied by LaPerriere. Backstrom has it knocked off his stick. He's forced into the corner. That's Ullman after him. Now Backstrom getting some skating room. Ullman still after him. Backstrom down on the right side. He's over the line. Still with it. Centers it. And there's going to be a penalty here. It looked like Normie Ullman was signaled by Ashby. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, it was quite a battle all the way down the ice, Danny, between Ullman and Backstrom. And it was strange that while Backstrom managed to pull away from Ullman, just about the Leaf blue line, it was finally Ullman who intercepted the pass, even though Backstrom had taken his check.
Toronto penalty to Norm Ullman, 2 minutes for hooking. The time, 8:44.
8:44, the time of the hooking penalty to Ullman of the Leafs. Baliveau, Cournoyer, Lemaire. Now it's back to Savard. There's the shot. Glennie got in front of it. Into the corner, Dory playing it to Selby on the boards, and he's tied up by Baliveau. Other games in the National League tonight: Boston at Detroit, Chicago at Pittsburgh, St. Louis at Minnesota. The face-off, Lemaire is tied up. It's cleared to the far side by Dory, and he backhands it down the ice. Selby, Fulford, Dory, and Glennie on there for Toronto. Russo for the Canadiens, ahead to Baliveau with Cournoyer and Lemaire. Baliveau across the line. It's picked up by Russo. He flipped it in there. Baliveau trying to center it, and Edwards covers up, assisted by Dory.
In that game in Detroit, the Red Wings have taken a 2-0 lead over the Bruins. Day from Connolly and Monahan at 7:01. Libet from Stemkowski and Harris at 8:48 in the first period.
1 minute and 23 seconds remaining in the penalty to Ullman. No score, first period. Dory on the boards, cleared it up near the point. Russo slapping it back in there. Now Cournoyer shoots it, and he was wide with it. Selby can't clear it out. Baliveau has it near the point, takes the shot. Cournoyer, a backhand shot. And he tried to slip that one through the skates and knees of Edwards.
The ever-dangerous Ivan Cournoyer on the power play. Here we see it from our end zone camera. And we'll see Cournoyer battle his way free and finally get the shot away here on the backhand. Edwards smothering it with his pads just outside that Toronto goal crease.
A minute and 5 seconds remaining in the penalty. Fulford facing off against Baliveau. On the face-off, Baliveau gets the shot on the target, and the Leafs clear it down the ice. Selby and Fulford forechecking with the defense of Horton and Quinn moving up. Now they drop back as 4 Canadians come out at center. Russo, a lead pass. Blocked by Horton, picked up by Savard. Savard shooting it in off the board. Fulford comes up with it. Russo, and he shoved. Belleville getting it back to Cournoyer. He fakes the shot over to Savard. There it is. And it goes off Edwards' left glove. Canadians Belleville with it. Belleville still has it. The shot. Edwards got a piece of it. Cournoyer trying to center it. There's Beaufort on the left wing board. Shoots it out over the line. And the Leafs are starting away. Selby almost got a break there and then lost it to Savard. Savard hitting the Toronto line. Back it goes to Cournoyer. The shot. They score! One there.
The Canadians open the scoring with just 2 seconds left in the Toronto penalty, and for Jacques Lemaire, a case of being in the right place at the right time. Edwards makes a great save, but as you saw in the replay, the puck bounced right onto Lemaire's stick, who fired it into the open net. Jacques Lemaire scoring his 5th goal of the season, and the Canadians lead 1-0.
À 10 minutes, 42 secondes. Canadien gold, scored by Jacques
And he
Lemaire.
shoots it. Oh, what a great save there by Basham.
And Serge
Got
Savard.
his leg up. Now Dory feeding it into the corner. And the Leafs came within a whisker of tying it up. LaPerriere clearing it behind the net. Harper tied up. He and Keon fighting for it. So the scoring play, Lemaire is 5th of the year, Cournoyer and Savard assisting at 10:42. So Normie Ullman was within 2 seconds of getting back on the ice. Richard waved out of there, and so is Keon. There's a good profile shot of Normie Ullman. Smith back passes to Lemaire. Ahead to Richard. Called on the offside.
Henry Richard was in the doubtful starter category tonight. He re-injured a knee in Philadelphia on Thursday and did not complete that game. We heard it early in the 3rd period, but he's out there, obviously.
LaPerriere flipping it out over the line. Glennie knocking it back to the Leafs. LaPerriere ahead to Redmond. Redmond at the line, cutting in on the left side. A backhand sliding shot is wide. Richard in for Lemaire. Lemaire passing it, and Glennie knocked it back. Back it goes to Harper. In for Lemaire. He winds up with a shot. On the short side, it was wide. Now the Leafs starting out with Glennie. His pass goes to center, knocks to the wing. Harper to Lemaire. Here's Glennie at center, making a shot. He's over the line. Keon racing right in there. There's another shot. He scores! Oliver!
And a happy group of Toronto Maple Leafs celebrating the tying goal. Here it is again as the play sees Oliver come in from that left side after Vachon had got down and made an excellent save off Keon. But the Canadiens goaltender well out of position, and Murray Oliver fired it into the empty net. A neat goal by the Leafs for Oliver, his 6th tally of the season.
So it's all tied 1-1. Toronto 1, Montreal 1.
Le but proposé par Murray Oliver. Avec l'aide de Dave Keon et Brian Glennie à 11 minutes 59 secondes. Toronto goal scored by Murray Oliver, assisted by Dave Keon and Brian Glennie. The time, 11:59.
11:59, the time of the tying goal. Savard over the line. Backstrom dropping it back. It goes to Baxter from Provo. There's the shot. Hit the goal post. It's behind the net. Backstrom trying to shove it over. It goes from one side to the other. Quinn to Horton. Horton playing it up to Ellis on the right side. Over in the other wing to Henderson. He's racing after it and lost it to Provo. Provo ahead for Backstrom, trying to get by Quinn. Allman into the corner and plays it to the other side to Horton. Side to Horton. Horton picking his way out. The pass goes to center. Savard ripped it back into the Leaf zone. And Pat Quinn is there to take over. Quinn's pass goes to Allman up to Henderson. He has great speed. Ellis coming on the other side over to Ellis going in. And he just missed the corner. And the Leafs very close to breaking the tie. Now here's Backstrom coming back for the Montreal Canadiens, and he couldn't get by Horton. Horton playing it into the center ice area. Savard spinning around to get away from Ullman. There's Provo digging in around the Toronto net, getting set to center it. He holds it. Now he centers it. Backstrom takes the shot. Edwards made a great save and then didn't know where the rebound was. Here's Savard shooting it in there. It goes to the side from the corner. Backstrom shooting it. They poke away at it. And finally the Leafs start out. It's Ellis to Henderson. Henderson clearing it in toward Vachon. And both teams are making changes with 6 minutes remaining in this, the first period. The score tied 1-1. Provo ahead for Russo. Holford on the boards against Russo. Holford finally goes to the left wing. Couldn't pass it out. Cournoyer on the line with Russo. Russo has it back to Cournoyer. He was checked by Pulford. Russo in behind the net to Cournoyer. Now from the corner out to Russo. He shot it wide. Beliveau takes the shot. Leafs got the backhand shot. And Cournoyer missed on the backhand drive. Harper slapped it in there. Here's Beliveau into the corner trying to center it. A high-flying puck. And the Leafs start out. Up on the wing goes Dory. He passes it to Pulford over to McKinney, and it's called on the offside.
And tremendous action. Danny, take a breather. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return.
That's a hair trigger explosive flare. And we're going to prove how smooth the 1970 Ford pickup rides by running a course of explosive flare. Any up or down movement of these rods we've attached will set off the hair trigger explosives. The wheel is taking the pounding of the 4x4s, and the rod explodes the flare. But the rod on the cab hasn't touched the flare. That's because Ford's twin I-beam front suspension steps over bumps independently for a smoother car-like ride.
5:14 left in the first period. Toronto won, Montreal won. The period started out on a cautious note. Not too many good scoring opportunities. But for the last 7 or 8 minutes, there has been tremendous action. Glennie over to Dory, back to Glennie. Glennie hitting the line, a pass over to Pulford, going in on the backhand, and he couldn't control it to get the shot on the target. Here's McKinney. McKinney getting set to center it around the net, still has it. Now Bordelot knocked it to the other side. Selby on the boards against Cournoyer. Bordelot over to Russo, going in on the right side. And his low drive is wide to the far corner. Dory ahead to McKinney, in with Pulford. Here's McKinney, a pass over the other side to Selby. He dropped it on the boards to Dory. Dory against LaPerriere. Now the Canadiens finally come out. LaPerriere's pass too far ahead for Redmond. Harper in the center ice area. The pass on the right side. Redmond got away from Dory. His long shot off the target. Harper getting it to the point to Russo. He shoots it in there. Around the net goes Bordelot trying to center it. Edwards loses his stick. Bordelot passing it back, and it's out over the line. Harper being checked by Keon Harper over to Bordelot. A backhand shot. He hit the side of the net. Now on the board. Oliver clearing it ahead. Here's Keon coming in on the left side. Winds up with a shot. A whistling drive high and wide. Off the boards it goes to center. Quinn waiting for his teammate Smith to get onside. Now it's LaPerriere over on the left wing for Lemaire, and he tipped it in. Oliver, he has scored the goal for Toronto up on the right side. Smith couldn't break in there. And it finally goes bouncing over the boards. 3:27 left.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
If I had a stance as wide as Mercury Meteor, no one would dump me. Did you hear that, Reggie? Mercury Meteor.
Coming on strong.
Keon, Oliver, and Smith against Redmond, Richard, and Lemaire. And it goes into Canadian territory. It's cleared on the boards. Richard picking it up. Redmond is over on that far right wing. He couldn't get it. Racing in behind the net. And it's taken and touched by Horton, and that's icing called against the Montreal Canadiens.
During our first intermission, you'll meet a rather unique goaltender, Miss Karen Cook. Miss Karen Cook, that is. Ted Darling will chat with Mickey Redmond, and Dickie Moore will be along to analyze this first period of play. Chicago and Pittsburgh in a 1-1 tie. In Pittsburgh in the first period, Wojtowicz scoring for the Penguins, Luan Gotti for the Blackhawks.
And it's tied here 1-1 with 3:08 remaining in this, the first period. Oliver passing it back. Quinn at the point couldn't keep it in. And it's Keon. He feeds it to Horton. Off Oliver's stick, and Savard being watched by Keon. Now Keon has the puck, follow him to the other side. Canadians finally getting out. Redmond to Lemaire. Lemaire at the line, and he rivets that shot against the right knee of Horton, and then it goes flying off to the left.
Davey Keon out there in his first Montreal appearance in his new role as captain of the Maple Leafs. That assist by Keon gives him a career point total now of 499. And here comes Ralph Backstrom, who you saw come close 3 times on that last shift and that wild action around the Toronto net, including one shot that hit the goalpost. For Backstrom, his next goal will give him a career total of 200 goals.
Lemaire has scored for Montreal. There's Backstrom shooting, and he was low and wide. Oliver has tallied for Toronto, as you've just joined us. Henderson held in on the boards by Provo. Now it's back to Provo. There's the shot. Wide. Puck is cleared by Dory to the right side. Knocked out by Ellis. Provo, a right wing pass. Ferguson racing in against Glennie. Glennie in on the boards. Trying to tie up Ferguson. He succeeds. Ellis starting on the right side. Can't clear it out. Provo from the point in ahead. It goes to Backstrom. Backstrom hands it off to Ted Harris. Harris turning, getting set for a pass. Now it goes over to Savard. Savard shooting it into Provo. Provo still has it to the side. A backhand shot by Ferguson. Backstrom had the open corner and side of the net. But Edwards got down there and kept his legs up against the post.
And here we see on the replay, Ralph Backstrom foiled again in his try for number 200. From off the side, he tries to jam it between Edwards and the post, but the Toronto goaltender hangs on.
1:52 left in this, the first period. Backstrom facing off against Ullman. It's Quinn taking over, playing it up for Henderson. He's being watched. Provo knocked it back in there wide. Up on the right side. Ellis starting out over his own line. Knocked to the ice by Ferguson. Ullman. Back to Horton. Horton the pass for Henderson. And he rolls it into Vachon. A Perrier being watched by Ellis and Henderson. Harper cleared it on the right side for Provo. His pass for Backstrom fails to hit the mark. LaPerriere shooting it into Leaf territory. And Ellis being watched by Backstrom. You know, a fellow who was impressed out there, in my opinion, in that first period for Toronto, Vic, is Glennie.
They're at the end of the first period now in Chicago. The Blackhawks lead Pittsburgh 2-1. The second Chicago goal, Stan Mikita from Pitt-Martin at 19:22 of the first period.
LaPerriere and Harper up for the face of Cournoyer shoots it. Belleville shoots it, and 2 miraculous saves there by Edwards on Cournoyer and Belleville. And Edwards picked him up in brilliant fashion. A native of Champions, Ontario. There you see it. Marv Edwards, 5'8", 155, 34 years of age. Last year was with Amarillo and Baltimore. Clearing it up on the line. Now it's Beaufort down at center. McKinney is over on the right side. Here's Beaufort shooting it in there, and he's just wide with it. Cournoyer clearing it out to Russo at center. Russo is breaking in on goal. It's knocked away by Horton. Cournoyer centering it. Off the boards, it's LaPerriere shooting it wide. And it goes to the far side. Selby clearing it to center. Quinn for the Leafs. Knocking it ahead with 30 seconds left in the period. Cournoyer feeds it off to the corner. Russo racing in. Horton playing it on the board. Beliveau has it. Here's Beliveau giving it to Russo. It's off his stick. Selby goes in for the Toronto Maple Leafs and knocks it over the glass away from Russo.
We've seen some great goaltending by Marv Edwards. He faced the Canadiens in the exhibition game these teams played in Toronto. And I know the Canadian players were all unanimous in their opinion. He had played an excellent hockey game that night. Gamble played in the first league game between the clubs. Now here's Edwards in his first pro appearance in the Montreal Forum.
And there are 13 seconds remaining in the period. The score is tied 1-1. Keon gives way to Oliver for the face-off against Lemaire. Puck goes to Smith. He cleared it on the boards into the center ice area. Harris over to Savard. He played it ahead. Dory knocked it to Smith. Now it's Keon from center. Looks at the clock. Takes the shot as the siren goes to end the period. Toronto 1, Montreal 1 at the end of 1.
Shots on goal in the first period by Montreal, 17 by Toronto, 7. From the Forum in Montreal, Hockey Night in Canada.
Change is in the wind. For 1970, we asked the wind to design a car. Torino, 1970. Wider. Longer. Lower than ever before. Torino, 1970. Molded into a sweeping new aerodynamic shape. This year, go with the wind. Torino, 1970. Ford gives you better ideas. It's the going thing.
Ted Darling here, and welcome to our first intermission. Well, things started rather slowly in that first period of play until the 10:42 mark when Jacques Lemaire picked up Cournoyer's rebound to give Montreal a 1-0 lead with Normie Ullman in the penalty box at the time. Savard also picking up an assist on Lemaire's 5th goal of the year. Then Oliver tied it up at 11:59, just 1 minute and 17 seconds later from Keon and Glennie. Montreal, as Dick mentioned, out shooting Toronto 17-7 in that first period of play. You know, here on Hockey Night in Canada, we try to seek out some of the unusual aspects to the game, and we found one this past summer at a hockey school here in the Montreal area. The school was conducted by Bobby Russo and Jacques Lemaire of the Canadiens, and one of the aspiring goaltenders in attendance was a young lady from Michigan. Dick Irvin has the story.
Last season on Hockey Night in Canada, we introduced you to a young teenager from Detroit, Miss Karen Cook, who's a tremendous hockey fan. She attends the games in the Olympia. She's an artist, and she paints pictures of the hockey players, and she knows just about everything there is to know about the National Hockey League. Well, to prove even further that Karen is quite a hockey buff, I am talking to her right now at Bobby Russo's summer hockey school in the Boucherville Arena, which is near Montreal. And Karen is here as a student at the hockey school. And first of all, Karen, I know this is the first school that you have attended, but you did try to get into some in the past. Why couldn't you make it then?
Well, just because I'm a girl, they wouldn't let me in, and they didn't think I could play hockey, and so they wouldn't give me a chance to get in.
But Bobby Russo changed that.
Yes, he gave me the chance, right.
Now, another thing that intrigues me is the fact that you're a goaltender. How did this come about?
Well, I started out at left wing when I was, quite small, and I was playing with guys like 20 years old, and I mean, when they checked you, I would just go flying over the snowbank, and I got kind of tired of it, and I wasn't getting anywhere, so I saw Roger Crozier one day, and on television, I decided, well, I want to be like him, so I put on the pads.
Now, do you play in a team, or on a team, or in the league in the Detroit area?
I don't play in a league, but on a team. We just have the one team. It's a boys' team where I live, and we've had quite good times.
Now, you're here at the hockey school, and I know Phil Mears is in charge of teaching the goaltenders who are here. What have you learned about playing goal?
Well, first of all, in the first day, we started on cutting down the angles, and we would have a puck out in front of us, and he would position it, and then we would have to get in position to cut down the angle when the shot would come. And we worked the whole session on just that, so it was quite important. And we worked on covering the corners, on a shot from the corner, and we worked on poke checks and on a breakaway, and how to slide and how to go down without your knees spread open, so the puck could go through, and how to keep your stick on the ice and things like this.
I know that you watch the National Hockey Leaguers in action. Do you have one goaltender who you maybe pattern your play after?
Roger Crozier. I've seen so much of him, and I like him a lot, and I've tried to follow him.
What did the boys think when you arrived here at the hockey school in the midst of all these youngsters?
Well, the little boys especially wondered if I was a boy or a girl, and they kept asking me, and asking me over and over again if I was a boy or a girl. I guess they couldn't believe a girl could be a goalie. But now that we've gotten acquainted, and it's going along quite well.
I understand one of the things you like best here at the hockey school is Jacques Lemaire shoots the puck at you.
Well, he really shoots them. He's got quite a shot, and it's quite a thrill to try to stop him, and it's a good experience.
Karen, I know that you've completed your high school education. What are your plans for the future?
Well, in September, this fall, I'm going to go up to Northern Michigan University in Marquette. That's in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan, and I'll be up there all year.
Any chance that you know of to continue your hockey playing days up there?
I don't know. I hope I can. I hope I can still play hockey. I know I'll be able to skate because they have lots of ice up there.
Karen, I know that the folks here at the school have enjoyed having you, and certainly have enjoyed seeing just how well you can play goal, and good luck in your education, and thanks for chatting.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Karen Cook is pursuing her college and a hockey career right now, and she's just won the job as backup goalie for a semi-pro team in Marquette, Michigan. Our best wishes go out to Karen, a very unique hockey story. And now let's meet one of the hard-working right-wingers of the Montreal Canadiens, Mickey Redmond. And Mickey, this is your third season with the Habs, but it may be your first full one. You're going at a great clip so far, 8 goals in 12 games.
Well, I hope that it's going to be my first full season. As you say, I haven't played regularly for the last 2, but I'm hoping to keep my regular job till the end of this year and in the playoffs.
Mickey, when you first came up, what did you have to work at that perhaps you didn't have to do in junior hockey? Because you did score well, too, of course, in junior hockey.
I would say checking had to be the big thing when I came to the NHL. It isn't stressed as much in junior. We weren't told to check. We weren't shown how, but it was the first thing that I learned when I came here that I had to do, and I worked on it quite a bit when I was down in Houston for a month, and my first 2 years by watching fellas like Provo and Joe Tremblay, and these guys are 2 of the greatest checkers in the league, and you learn a lot just by sitting on the bench watching them.
That was quite a first period of play after a few minutes.
Sure was. It was just up and down. I think we had quite a few shots over theirs out there, but we didn't have any real good, I would say, opportunities, like 15, 20 feet, real good shots. We had a lot of scrambly play,
I don't know if they had a chance to see it on TV. I was out in the rink at the time, but you looked like you were going to take quite a fall into the boards. I guess you did.
I did, Ted. I went in head first. I just caught my foot on Oliver's leg, but luckily I got my arm down and braced myself a little bit anyway.
Mickey, you perfected the wrist shot. Do you try to use it more than the slap shot?
Yes, I do. I think that trying to shoot a slap shot is very difficult because after the players are on you so quickly that you don't have time to wind up and let that slap shot go. So therefore, the wrist shot where you don't have to pull it back so far, you just snap it and let it go is much easier to get away, and it's something that it can really be a big advantage to you in a tight situation. You have to shoot quick, and guys are on you all the time, as I say, so it's something you use in every time you get the puck,
Your brother Dick's now playing with Minnesota. You've had 2 games against them. Have you ever had come into contact with your brother at all? Or?
Not yet, Ted. No, not yet.
No one-on-one situation?
No.
How does he like Minnesota?
I think he likes it very much. He's looking forward to, like myself, playing regular in the NHL and in the near future.
You've gone into ranching out west with Terry Harper, is that right?
Yes, we have. We purchased a herd of cattle out there this summer.
Well, Mickey Redmond, thanks very much, and continued good success with the Canadiens.
Thank you, Ted.
Now let's go up to Danny Gallivan and the NHL tonight.
Toronto won, Montreal won at the end of an entertaining first period of hockey. Oliver scoring for Toronto, Lemaire for Montreal. In that period, the Canadiens outshot the Leafs 17-7, and Edwards came up with some really outstanding saves. This afternoon in Los Angeles, New York Rangers 4, Los Angeles 1. Ballone, Park, Hadfield, and Rattel for New York, and Peters getting the goal for Los Angeles. In the first period in Detroit, it's 2-0 for Detroit over Boston. Day and Libet have scored for Detroit. Chicago leading Pittsburgh 2-1 in the first period. Makita and Angotti for Chicago. Wojtowicz got the goal for Pittsburgh. There's one other game scheduled tonight, as yet no score on it. St. Louis at Minnesota. On CBC Radio tomorrow night, the Toronto at Chicago game. Hockey Night in Canada continues in just a moment.
This car may shake your world a little and change every idea you've had about the medium price field. This is the Marquis 1970. Understated elegance, the mark of a thoroughbred. Uncompromising luxury in every detail. Marquis, the medium price car with the most dramatic styling since the Continental Mark III. And if Lincoln Continental made a wagon, this would be it. The 1970 Marquis Colony Park. Marquis, a new standard of luxury in the medium price field. Take a fresh look at what a medium price car can really be. Marquis 1970. At the sign of action, your Mercury dealer.
What a time for the clean sweep favorite, Molson Export Ale. The ale that tastes the way a fine ale should taste. After the pleasure of any sport, the cool, crisp enjoyment of the big ale in the big land. The Thirst Breaker.
We're very pleased to have Dickie Moore with us again as the analyst on our Montreal telecast of Hockey Night in Canada. Dick, this is our first in-person look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, a team that the experts didn't take too kindly toward in all of the preseason predictions. What are your thoughts on the Leafs after one period here tonight?
Well, I think, Dick, it's all because of the big change with the coaching staff and management that everyone's taken the Leafs out. But Leafs, as you know, are a great team. They're not an individualist type of team. They are an all-team effort, and I think they'll withhold it through this year as well. Looking back at the way they're playing out here tonight, Dick, they look like they've got a lot of fine young hockey players with them.
They skated very well. Dickie, the Toronto defense was a little bit suspect, mainly because of the inexperience with Tim Horton, the main veteran. Anybody out there impress you particularly in the newcomers?
Yes, Dick, we looked at that Brian Glennie. He threw a stiff body check out there, and he looks very impressive. Of course, big Pat Quinn is very sturdy on his feet. He's not as mobile, mind you, but I think Timmy moving out there helps him a lot. And as you say, they are banking on Tim Horton, a great competitor, Dick. My first year in Toronto playing with him, I enjoyed it. Tim is a great team man.
Well, here we see on the videotape replay the last couple of seconds of the goal that the Canadiens scored. Lemaire was in the right place, Dick, at the right time on that rebound.
Yes, it helps out a lot. Here you'll notice he's dropping it back to Savard, and Savard lets it go there. Here's where a fellow moves in on his left wing, Dick, and really moves in at the right time, picks up that rebound from Edwards. You couldn't blame Edwards there at all.
You certainly couldn't blame him, and I'll tell you, the Leafs could thank him for the way he played, especially toward the end.
He made a lot of stays on Ralph Backstrom, believe me.
Dick Backstrom's going for goal number 200. I don't know if we overplay this sort of thing about a guy going for a milestone like that, but sometimes it appears to be a bit of a jinx. Our next videotape replay, the Toronto goal scored by Murray Oliver, an old pro. Good play by Keon and then Oliver.
Great play by Davey. Davey scored a lot of goals that way, too, Dick, trying to slide it under the goaltender, but Vachon blocked him, and Murray pulls up right behind him to pick up the rebound. You notice Davey trying to slide it under Vachon. Vachon had to lay his body completely down to block it, and therefore Oliver, didn't have a chance to get back up on Oliver's quick reflexes breaking in behind David.
Dick, again, to get back to this 200-goal business, but really, do players let something like that bother them once in a while? Does it start to get to a fella after a while?
Well, I think so, Dick. This is something, mind you, that will always bother an individual because they're always out trying to outthink the game, and it's pretty hard.
That milestone. Dick, the great rivalry between these two clubs, of course, is well known. Did you find it both in Toronto and Montreal? When the Canadiens and the Leafs played, a little edgy maybe for everybody?
Well, it doesn't seem to be as edgy as it used to be, mind you, Dick. I think it's going to take time to develop with all the new players Toronto have. As you know, there used to be a lot of rivalry, and this you're going to see more of as the season goes on.
New players and new coaches, too. Thank you, Dickie. We'll check with you again in the second intermission. Here at the Forum, the score at the end of the first period, the Toronto Maple Leafs won, the Montreal Canadiens won.
Oh, come on. Don't be shy. We know you. That's better. Now, there you are. Molson Export Ale. A great thirst breaker after a game of golf. Export Ale. A welcome addition to your favorite meal. Export Ale. A refreshing taste at a party or friendly gathering. Export Ale. The ale that tastes the way a fine ale should taste. Big in flavor, big in popularity. Canada's largest selling ale. The big ale in the big land. Molson Export Ale.
Toronto 1, Montreal 1 as we await the arrival of the teams back on the ice for the start of the second period. The scoring in that first period for Montreal, Lemaire from Cournoyer and Savard, and that was a power play goal with Ullman of Toronto off. And then at 11:59, Oliver from Keon and Glennie. Canadians putting in an appearance, and now here comes the Leafs, led by Marv Edwards. That New York victory this afternoon over Los Angeles means now that the New York Rangers are in first place with 18 points. They are 3 up on Detroit, Boston, and Montreal, and all these clubs with 15 points. Toronto 5th has 10, and Chicago 6th with 7. And the other town scores, it's now into the second period. Detroit 2, Boston no score. Chicago 2, Pittsburgh 1. They are also underway in the second period.
Well, this afternoon, Danny, as you mentioned, it was 4-1 for New York over Los Angeles out on the West Coast, and one of the Ranger goals was scored by Vic Hatfield. That gives him a total of 9 for this season, and he is the league leader at this point. Mickey Redmond and Phil Esposito each have tallied 8 times.
Keon at center. Oliver and Smith on the wings for the Leafs against Richard, centering for Redmond and Lemaire. Quinn is on defense with Horton for Toronto. LaPerriere and Harper back on the blue line for the Canadiens. LaPerriere and Harper race into the corner, and Harper scoops it up on the right side for Redmond to Richard. Richard, a pass for Lemaire, and he's offside on the play. You know, there's an 83-year-old gentleman by the name of Tommy McDougall, Mr. Montreal Canadian in the Williams Lake, British Columbia area. He's sitting in on the game tonight. His friends got together to send him to Montreal for 3 games, and he said it was the biggest thrill of his life when he received a letter from Baz Tower, the ticket manager here, saying that he had tickets for last Saturday, Wednesday, and tonight. Richard clearing it in on the right side, trying to center it. Keon rolling it down on the left wing. And it's LaPerriere back there for Montreal to Richard. The score tied, 1-1. Richard geeking in on that left side, gets by Smith and Horton. Richard centering it, and Quinn was right there for the Leafs. Quinn getting it finally to Smith, who couldn't get anywhere. Richard up on the wing for Lemaire. Richard going in for the loose puck. Taken out of the play by Quinn. Here's Harper off the right wing boards, away wide with that shot. Redmond trying to center it against Horton. It's high in the air. Richard comes up with it. Richard dumping it in front, and again, Quinn is there for the Leafs. Back at the point, Harper shooting in. Richard has it. He flipped it right in front of the net, and it's cleared away by Edwards. LaPerriere couldn't keep it in. There's a puck grabbed off by Floyd Smith. He got away from Richard. Smith back to Keon. He tried to feed it in front for Oliver. Richard, a pass for Lemaire. There's the sizzling shot, and he was wide with it. Oliver got it off the leg over to Smith. Smith coming out ahead for Keon. Keon off the boards. And Harper takes over for Montreal. Release Dory. Clearing it ahead, racing in after it. Takes the shot wide. There's Ellis over on the other side. And he lost it to Harper. It's picked up now by Baxton. 2 minutes and 5 seconds have been played in the second period. Score tied 1-1 as Ferguson takes the long shot to the corner. Backstrom couldn't get it back to the point. Normie Ullman up on the right side is Ellis. He couldn't hit Ellis with that pass. Now Glennie works in on the right side. Runs into Ted Harris. Bumped by Ferguson. Ferguson ahead to Backstrom. Backstrom over the line. A pass for Provo, and he was checked by Henderson. Now it goes to Provo. Provo on the backhand to Backstrom to Ferguson, who couldn't come up with it, and then it was grabbed by Edwards.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Export Ale. Big in flavor.
Backstrom against Ullman. Glennie playing it ahead on the right side for Ellis. Henderson coming on the other wing. The long shot by Ellis. Savard starting out for Montreal. The pass goes behind Ferguson and Glennie. Clearing it out for Normie Ullman. Ullman passing it to the far side. Jim Dory has it. Clearing it in. Here's Ullman going in with Ellis. It's poked away by Ted Harris. Ferguson couldn't get the pass ahead. Then it's grabbed off by Backstrom. He got away from Dory. Backstrom over the line. And it's knocked off this stick by Ullman. Savard waiting for Ferguson and Provo to get back on side. Now Savard swinging over to the left wing. Into the corner. Glennie. Glennie out over the line with Henderson, who has it on the left wing. Henderson getting away from Savard, trying to center it. Henderson again. Back it comes near the line to Horton. Horton feeding it back in toward the corner. Savard against Henderson. Quinn back for the Toronto Maple Leafs over the line. Knocked away by Cournoyer. We're nearing the 5th minute mark in this period. Here's Russo getting up breaking. Russo a backhand shot, and Edwards covers up. Cournoyer was racing in there looking for a rebound. Beliveau also moved in.
Another fine save by Edwards as Cournoyer beats Horton at the blue line. A backhand shot by Russo, and as Danny mentioned, Cournoyer right there, but the Toronto goaltender, Marv Edwards, playing exceptionally well here tonight, held on.
On the face-off, it comes over to the far wing. Quinn clearing it ahead. Selvey couldn't pick it up. Fulford forward checking on LaPerriere. Quinn moving in. Gets it again. Hit LaPerriere with it. And let's see, there's going to be a penalty to LaPerriere for a holding in all probability.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
The Thirst Breaker, Molson Export Ale. When you drop into your favorite lounge or tavern. The Thirst Breaker, Molson Export Ale. When you're at the cottage or just plain relaxing at home. The ale that's big in flavor, big in popularity, biggest in sales. The big ale in the big land. Molson Export Ale. The Thirst Breaker.
LaPerriere received a holding penalty at 4:31, and here on the replay now, we see the infraction as LaPerriere grabs the elite player Pat Quinn in Montreal territory.
And for the first time tonight, the Leafs gets control of it. Leaves it there for Smith. Smith over the line, checked by Redmond. Richard has it, puts it on the stick of Lemaire. There's the shot. And Edwards deflected it to the corner. Now Lemaire into the corner behind the net to Richard. Richard getting set for a pass to Redmond. Redmond back to Ted Harris. There's the shot. They score!
We've got an argument going on here, and I believe the Leafs are claiming that the puck struck a stick over the shoulder. At least that was the motion. Let's check it on the replay. As Ted Harris lets go the shot. There you see it bounce down and into the net as it
have the opportunity to utilize their power play. They had Smith, Keon, Oliver, Glennie. And back on the point is Ron Ward out there for the first time. Rousseau and Provo up front for Montreal. Here come the Leafs. Down on the left side, Glennie ahead to Oliver. He scooped it in. Smith racing in against Ted Harris. Smith gets it around the net, centering it. Provo picks it up for Montreal and shoots it back down the ice. 1 minute and 23 seconds remaining now on the penalty to LaPerriere. Ellis comes on the ice for the Leafs. That pass backfires. Glennie clearing it in. Keon racing against Ted Harris. Ellis moving in.
Ullman fired it through. For Normie Ullman, a neat play, his second goal of the season, and the Leafs lead it 2-1.
Avec l'aide de Ron Ward et Dave Keon. À 5 minutes, 58 secondes. Toronto goal scored by Norm Ullman, assisted by Ron Ward and Dave Keon. The time, 5:51.
5:51. Mahovlich is on the ice now. Here's Beliveau going in with Cormier going in and goal, and he missed on the short side. McKinney on the right wing for the Leafs. They lead 2-1. Mahovlich intercepts the pass, feeds it back into Leaf territory. Glennie ahead to McKinney. He's out with Fulford and Selby. The three of them across the line. Fulford's shot low and wide. Harper giving it to Beliveau. Big Mahovlich is up there on the far left wing. Beliveau over the line. Feeds it in front, and it goes to the corner. Glennie starting down slowly at center to Selby. Selby over the line with McKinney. It's back. McKinney hooked it into the corner. Selby hooking it into the corner as McKinney was skating the other way. Cournoyer going to the line. And McKinney got back there for Toronto. He plays it off the boards. LaPerriere with it. We have 12 minutes and 55 seconds left in the second period. Toronto 2, Montreal 1. Lemaire knocking down the pass with Cournoyer. Lemaire takes the shot. And he's wide. And there's going to be a penalty here. Fulford, I believe.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
And now, Molson Canadian entertains.
Molson Canadian, a lager beer that's bright and clear. Molson Canadian, it drinks so smooth any time of year. Drink Molson Canadian lager beer.
So when it's your turn to entertain, choose Molson Canadian Lager Beer. It's the crowd pleaser.
7:14, the 2-minute hooking penalty to Bob Fulford of the Maple Leafs. Here we'll see it again on the replay in Toronto territory, right there, hooking on Lemaire just inside the blue line.
And the Canadiens' power play, Lemaire, Richard, Redmond, Rousseau, and Savard. For the Leafs, we have Keon and Oliver up front. Quinn is on defense with Horton. Toronto 2, Montreal 1. Canadians starting on their power play from the corner. It's Lemaire. It goes to Rousseau, back to Savard. He missed it. And he gets another chance at it. Being watched closely by Keon. A lead pass for Richard, hitting the Toronto line, dropping it back to Lemaire, and off the board for Richard around the net, dumping it in front. Keon knocked it away. Now it's back to Savard. Savard near the line. In off the boards, Redmond couldn't trap it, and Horton has it. And Horton, with many years of experience, wasted no time getting it back into Canadian territory. Russo ahead to Richard with Lemaire and Redmond. They're in over the Toronto line. Richard into the corner, centering it across to the corner of the crease. Now it's Lemaire. Lemaire getting it back to Savard. He winds up with a shot. They score!
So power play goals are telling the story tonight. This is the second for the Canadian, Jacques Lemaire. The Leafs just scored one a few minutes ago. And again, Lemaire is in the right spot. There's his stick, hooking it by into the open net after Edwards had made the save on the initial drive from Serge Savard. So 2 power play goals tonight for Jacques Lemaire, and it's 2-2.
Canadien goal scored by Jacques Lemaire, assisted by Serge Savard and Robert Rousseau. The time, 8:23.
8:23, the time of the goal. There's Glennie going to the line, gets by Ferguson. Glennie trying to get it in front. Ferguson starting away with Kovo and Backstrom. Ferguson over the line, takes the shot. Beautiful save by Edwards. Harper clearing it in there, and Glennie knocked it off to the wing. Ron Ellis ahead of goes for Dory on the right side to Ullman across the line. Back to Ellis, a backhand shot. He's wide with it. Ullman trying to center it. Here's Henderson going in, and he's banned on the shot. Leaves Dory, takes over at center. A high drive. Harper made contact with the stick above the shoulder.
The Boston Bruins have scored in Detroit. Garnet Bailey from Cashman and Bobby Orr at the 56-second mark of the second period. Red Wings lead 2-1.
We've had 4 goals scored here tonight, 3 of them on the power play. Fulford, McKinney, and Selby for Toronto. Beliveau, Russo, and Cournoyer for Canadians, and goes over the glass. Russo racing over to the left side. Was off Beliveau's stick. Now Russo comes up with it. Lines up for the shot. Edwards handing it off to Selby. Selby clearing it out. And to Harris. To Savard. Ahead to Cournoyer. Goes to the corner. Russo getting in there ready for a pass that hit Horton. Horton starting out. A pass into the center ice area to McKinney. McKinney at the line. And Savard takes over from Montreal with Beliveau and Russo. Over the line. A pass for Beliveau. And that misses. Here's Cournoyer. Behind the net it goes. Horton can't clear it. Now Cournoyer going in. And Selby working out from the corner. Selby ahead to Fulford with McKinney over on the right side. McKinney getting set. And a great save by Vachon on a sizzling shot from the right wing by McKinney. Big Ted Harris at center. Flipping it in wide. Selby takes over on the boards. Checked by Cournoyer. Score tied 1-1. Ellis couldn't work out, lost it to Harris. Off Russo's stick down the ice it goes. Keon organizing with Ellis, Ullman, Henderson. It's Ullman making some fine moves, going to the right side. He lost it, and it's picked up by Ward. Ward is over the line, feeds it ahead to Normie Ullman, going in, scores!
The Toronto Maple Leafs have taken a 2-1 lead on the power play goal by Ullman. The play was started by Normie Ullman, and he finished it as well. Ward slips him the pass, and Ullman, around Serge Savard, lets it go, and you saw the gap between Vachon's legs as he went down to make...
And Russo. And the face-off in Toronto territory to score tied 2-2.
This has been the best skating hockey game, Danny, we've had here at the Montreal Forum so far this season. These clubs really turning it on. And some excellent goaltending at both ends, especially from Edwards of Toronto.
9 minutes and 42 seconds left in this period. Richard is tied up by Keon. Smith's pass gobbled up by Redmond back to LaPerriere. Lemaire couldn't get the pass back. Now Oliver with Keon over on the wing. It's shot to the corner. Vachon playing it for Harper. Now Richard with Lemaire. A pass for Lemaire. He couldn't get by Glennie. Glennie starting down on the right side. In it goes to Keon with Oliver out of the board. And Redmond clears the puck from in front of the open net. Jory shooting it. Now Keon. Lost it to LaPerriere. And it's back into the center ice area. And the Leafs have the golden opportunity there to go ahead. Score tied 2-2. Keon coming in. Richard out over the line, hitting the Toronto line. Redmond coming up on the play. Back for Redmond. Redmond lost it. Keon handing it off to Dory with Oliver, and the pass for Oliver is over the glass. 8:42 left.
Ricky Redmond, number 24 of the Canadiens, has been criticized in some quarters once in a while for his lack of back-checking. But that time, he was right there in front of the Canadiens' net to sweep that puck away with Vachon well out of position. It was a key move by Redmond.
Savard to Ted Harris. Ellis clearing it back into Canadian territory. Ferguson hits Backstrom at center. Provo's on the right side, and he shoots it into his territory. Provo knocks Quinn to the ice. Henderson on the board. Backstrom coming up with it. Here's Backstrom trying to get in front, and Quinn cleared it out over the line. Harris for Backstrom. Backstrom rolled it ahead. Horton ahead on the right side for Ellis, down with Ullman and Henderson. Provo checking Ellis, and Ted Harris. Finally, Provo knocked it out. Toronto 2, Montreal 2, with 7:53 left in the second period. Backstrom out for Provo, and it hopped over his stick. And for the first time since early in the first period, checking is getting close. Harris to Savard up on the right side. It goes to Provo with Backstrom. A drop pass to Backstrom. Back for Provo. Provo trying to center it. Around the net it goes. In on the boards. Ellis and Provo. Body. Here's Ted Harris winding up for his shot. And Edwards sensational on Backstrom on the rebound on the screen shot. Ferguson and Horton having words.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
Molson Canadian entertain. Jump aboard. Ride a winner. Next time you entertain, choose the smooth taste and lively sparkle of Molson Canadian, the bright, clear lager beer. It's the crowd pleaser.
Shot of Marv Edwards, the native of St. Catharines, who is having a brilliant night here tonight. He robbed Backstrom again. Backstrom trying to get his 200th goal. Lenny clearing it ahead, a lead pass for Pulford. On the far wing, it's McKinney. Pulford over the line to McKinney, back to Pulford. And he failed to make contact in front of Vachon. Delaveau missed a Harper pass. Now it's LaPerriere. Off the boards for Russo. He couldn't get it. Pulford feeding it back into Canadian territory. Harper ahead for Delaveau. He's checked by Dory. Pulford along the boards with Harper. And there's a shot of John Daniel McClellan, a native of South Porcupine. And I think you would have to say, Dick, that he has this Leaf team off to an excellent start.
delay right now as Edwards draws the linesman's attention to some debris down his goal crease, or I guess something wrong with the ice by the look of it. Pat Shetler down there. And now the rest of the officiating staff come down and take a look at it. You know, Danny, Jim Gregory, the general manager of the Maple Leafs, was telling us yesterday during the Leaf practice here that he's never seen an NHL player have as many scoring chances in one game as Dave Keon had Wednesday night in Los Angeles. Keon scored both Leaf goals in that game. And, of course, Keon has passed the 200-goal mark this season. Well, here tonight, we're seeing another situation, very similar, I would say, in Ralph Backstrom, because, as you mentioned, he has had 4 or 5 dead-on chances for his 200th goal, and Edwards has robbed them every time.
I guess that must be a block when a player is looking for an epic goal. And, of course, there's another block down there, Marv Edwards. Edwards has been great. Fulford against Beliveau. Now Dory tried to shoot it in. It's knocked down by Cournoyer. He couldn't get by Glennie. Selby feeding it up on the right side. LaPerriere to Beliveau. Ahead to Cournoyer. Up on the other wing to Russo. To the corner with Dory in there to take over for Toronto. 6.5 minutes left in this period. Here's Selby with Fulford. Coming up in the play, McKinney, a quick shot by Fulford. Cournoyer can't clear it out. Dory in ahead to Fulford, a backhand to make it for Selby. Oh, what a save there by Vachon as Selby was sent right in there. Beliveau for Montreal, feeding it in front, and McKinney takes over for the Leafs. McKinney at center with Fulford and Selby over the line. McKinney takes the shot, the quick shot, the rebound to Fulford. He shoots it, and Vachon was in front of that drive. And again, the Leafs came close, very close to breaking the tie. Russo in on the right side for Beliveau. It's off his skate. Fulford rolling it into the center ice area. Harper hitting the Leafs line. It goes to Redmond. He's going in on goal. Ready getting set and shoot. And he couldn't get it by Edwards on the short side. Now it's behind the net. It's centered by Russo. Back out over the line it comes. Harper in on the boards against Oliver.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
For an occasion with a little more to it, make it a festival, a Molson Festival. The great new beer with a little more to it.
Richard at the Toronto line. For Redmond, he never does get it. And it's Quinn ahead for Keon. Rolling it ahead. Oliver picks it up. Knocked it to the far side. And Lemaire for Richard. He can't get it. Horton knocked it toward the corner. And Savard hands it off to Ted Harris. 5 minutes left in the second period. Score tied 2-2. Oliver trying to get away, finally in the face-off in Canadian territory. Minute and 7 seconds left in the LaPerriere penalty.
Definitely changed direction in a downward manner. So we'll just have to wait now for the official call. But a very strange goal. Edwards had no chance. Harris's shot, as he golfed at the rolling puck, took off in a very strange vertical direction from his stick and then bounced right back down again. But the goal is going to stand, and the Canadiens have taken a 3-2 lead. The Leafs still arguing the point.
Avec l'aide de Mickey Redmond et Henri Guichard, à 15 minutes, 29 secondes. Canadian goal scored by Ted Harris, assisted by Mickey Redmond and Henri Guichard. The time, 15:29.
15:29. Here's the goal. Redmond and Richard the assist, and it's Montreal 3, Toronto 2. Ellis breaks up a pass. Ullman golfing it in. Savard being watched by Ellis. Up on the left side for Ferguson. Ferguson Cleared it behind Backstrom. Bobo's pass off the stick. Here's Glennie. Ahead to Ullman. He clearing it into the corner to Ellis. Knocked off his stick by Ted Ayers. Now Glennie keeping it in for Toronto. It goes to Ellis. A weak shot. And it's Savard to Provo. He runs into Henderson. It's picked up by Savard. Savard hitting the line. Going in on the left side. There's the shot. And Edwards kicked it off to Ullman. Ullman on the right side to Ellis. Back it goes to Ullman. Henderson coming up on the play. Vachon clearing it away from Henderson. Hooked away by Ullman. Back to Dory at the point. He shoots it in, and it's LaPerriere coming up with Backstrom. Backstrom cutting in on that left side. Ferguson in front. It goes high in the air. They score! I don't think it's going to be allowed. It's not going to be allowed. A stick above the shoulder. No goal.
Now it's the Canadiens' turn to argue, and there you see Claude Ruel on the other side of the ice, obviously distressed over the call, and John Beliveau, the team captain, is there. Here it is on the replay. Backstrom puts it out in front, and there's the swing with the puck over the stick over the shoulder, Jacques LaPerriere. And that's why it's no goal, so the score remains 3-2. The Canadiens leading with 3:19 left here in the second period. During our second intermission, our very special feature will be the Aurel Joliette story, a very interesting portrait of one of the greatest players in hockey history. And Dickie Moore will be along with his analysis of this very fine second period of play. And Danny, they've got a quorum down there assembled inside the league blue line. The Canadiens leading the charge this time on referee John Ashley.
No goal. Montreal 3, Toronto 2, 3:19 left in the second period. They face off at the Toronto line. LaPerriere from center. A long shot going to the wing after it is Quinn. Here's Cournoyer with Rousseau to Cournoyer. Rousseau trying to get it. It goes to Beliveau. Backhand shot. A low drive, and he missed the far side. Now Rousseau trying to keep it in. Took a couple of swipes at it, and the Leafs get it back to center. Harper, a weak backhand shot. Quinn off the boards. That time he hit Ashley with it as Selby tried to come up with it. Back to Quinn, over to Horton with Kenny over on the other side. Harper up for Rousseau, and that misses the target. Now McKinney down on the right wing trying to get away from LaPerriere. Harper out to Rousseau. Bordelot is on the ice. Rousseau going in on the right side. A pass goes behind Bordelot into the corner, getting set to center it. Here's Harper going in for the shot right on the loose puck in front. Bordelot trying to get a shot. Gives it to Rousseau, a backhand pass. And it goes to the corner. Harper into Cournoyer. Out to Bordelot off the stick. It's cleared away from in front of the net by Horton, and it goes to McKinney. Over on the left wing. Harper's pass intercepted. Now it's Quinn ahead to Oliver. Oliver is shooting it in. And we have 1 minute and 53 seconds left in this, the second period. Montreal 3, Toronto 2. Bordelot up on the left wing. He has Cournoyer with him. Cournoyer plays it off the board. Bordelot ridden out of the play that time by Dory, who streaks down with Oliver. Oliver going to the corner, and Lemaire hooks it back. Glennie feeds it to the Canadian line. Pass intercepted by Keon. Keon over the line. Back it goes to Oliver. Oliver looking for it. It goes high in the air, and Lemaire starts away. Has Redmond with him. Pass too far for Redmond. Back it goes to Lemaire for Richard. And that one fails to click also. Oliver with Keon. Lemaire to Richard. Richard turning to get away from Glennie. Richard hitting the Toronto line, leading his way in by the ring. And they're getting set. And he shot it wide to the far side. That's a minute remaining. 48 seconds. Ed Harris's pass stopped by Keon. Keon backhanding it in. Number 6 is Ellis. Savard clears it up for Richard. The Leafs keep it in there. Here's Henderson with Keon. Keon going right in and from the goal. He couldn't control it. He Lambert assisting Vashon. And the Leafs did everything there but tie it up. Now here's Lemaire. Back to Richard, and he couldn't catch up with it. He was checked by Dory. Here's Ken Harris lining up for a shot. And it's Glennie starting back for Toronto. The pass goes ahead to Normie Ullman. Broken up by Harris. Here's Henderson. 5 seconds remaining. He takes the shot. And Redmond has it, and that's going to be the period. Montreal 3, Toronto 2 at the end of 2.
Shots on goal in the second period by Montreal, 16 by Toronto, 9. From the Forum in Montreal, Hockey Night in Canada.
1,000 blue lakes and sparkling rivers in the big land give us a marvelous watery playground where people like you enjoy the fun of activities that lead to a different kind of refreshment. Cool, crisp-tasting refreshment that comes with the thirst breaker, Molson Export Ale. After a day of fair sailing, it's great to set course back to the dock to enjoy a Molson Export Ale, the big ale in the big land.
Enjoy a Molson Export Ale, the big ale in the big land.
Cool, crisp-tasting Molson Export Ale, the big ale in the big land. Taste the way a fine ale should taste. Molson Export Ale, the thirst breaker.
I think perhaps even the fans here in the Forum will be exhausted after this game. 3 goals being scored in that second period of play. It was Ullman scoring, making it 2-1 for Toronto at 5:51. It was the second goal of the year. Then Lemaire made it a 2-all tie, his 6th and his 2nd. Also a power play goal. Then Harris scored to give Montreal a 3-2 lead. And Montreal certainly having the edge over the Toronto Maple Leafs, outshooting them 33-16 after 2 periods of play. You know, when you enter the Montreal Canadiens dressing room, you're instantly awed by the nostalgia that surrounds the Habs. On the main wall, a portrait hangs showing the Hall of Fame members of the various teams. A team legend is among those greats. He was a line mate of Morenz, and in his day, idolized by the fans. Hockey Night in Canada now salutes a Hall of Famer with the story of Aurel Joliette.
Aurel Joliette, born Ottawa, April the 6th, 1901. 46 years later, elected to Hockey's Hall of Fame. He weighed only 150 pounds when he signed his contract in 1922. Before his playing days were over, he lost another 15 pounds. The man who was to become one of the greatest left-wingers in hockey signed his first contract for $1,200 at the age of 21. Joliette joined these former Montreal greats when the Canadiens were playing in the old Mount Royal Arena. His teammates included Sprague Cleghorn, Leo Dandoran, coach, George Vezina, goalie, Billy Boucher, Eddie Bouchard, and Odie Cleghorn. Joliette was joined by Howie Morenz, the Stratford Streak, in 1923. And they, along with Billy Boucher, were to develop into one of the finest lines hockey has ever seen.
Of course, we were very fast. We were known as the kid line in those days. The first kid line, because the league was composed of practically all old players at that time, in that era. A lot of old players, you know. They were all around the 38, 40-year mark. Cleghorns, Kutchu, Piggy, Pitt, all the other 4 teams had mostly old players, you see. So this was kind of a novelty to break in 3 young players like Bush, Morenz, and myself. There was no abrupt curving of the stick at all. And the sticks were all made in one piece out of alum, which is a wood that is flexible, pliable, and flexible. Sometimes I've seen players, and I played with a stick for a whole season. It lasted me a whole season. And you could bend your stick or just put a little hook in it. Just enough so that it give you a nice feeling, you know. The puck would stay controlled onto your stick, in other words, if you were any kind of a stick handler. And, of course, they're great to shoot with because you have that feeling, which I don't think they have today with these laminated sticks they have.
In 1925, Aurel Joliette and his teammates went west for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Victoria had won the Western Championship, so we traveled to the coast. And of course, they gave us quite a trimming. They beat us. The series was 3 out of 5 in those days, and they won 3, and we only won 1 game.
The little left winger wasn't much of a fighter, but he did have his share of bouts, one with King Clancy.
To be an out-and-out fighter, no. A boxer, no, I never was. I was more of a rough-and-tumble fighter, but I never got into many fights. This fight with Clancy, I let go a couple of punches, and I believe, and then it was all over.
An appropriate title for a man who weighed 150 pounds when he broke into the NHL. 11 years later, his playing weight was down to 136 pounds, but he was still scoring goals. The Canadiens were champions again in 1930 and 31, and Joliet was named the All-Star team, along with Eddie Shore, teammate Howie Morenz, Chicago's Charlie Gardner, Toronto's King Clancy, and the Rangers' Bill Cook. The line of Johnny Gagnon, Morenz, and Joliet led the Canadiens to Stanley Cup victories in the early 30s.
You see, Morenz and I were almost 14 years together. So to cover the balance of those years they brought in, we had, over the years, we must have had about 10 or 12 right wingers of all shapes, sizes, and descriptions.
Veteran newspaperman Elmer Ferguson called Joliet the Wonder Man when the left winger played in his 500th NHL game.
That game was on the 8th of February, 1934, in the Forum. And the club, I believe, was supposed to give me a $500 bill as a what would we call it, as a gesture for my 500th game. But Leo Dangerous decided then, he said, they decided instead of giving him the money, that they'd donate a trophy, a gold cup, worth $500. And that's what happened that night. They presented this cup to me on the ice in my 500th game in the Forum on the 8th of February, 1934.
4 years later, Aurel Joliet played in his last game. He had been sold by the Canadiens to the Maroons in 1935 and had scored over 270 goals during his 16-year NHL career.
Yeah, I was nominated into the Hall of Fame, and I received my scroll one night in the Montreal Forum about 10 years after I'd finished playing. This was in April of 1947.
60 years ago, a boy by the name of Aurel Joliet began his hockey education on a frozen river. Now 68 years old, he can look back on golden memories filled with the excitement and glamour of a brilliant career.
In future weeks, the other Hall of Fame features will include King Clancy and New Lalonde, our way of saluting the greats of the past. Hockey Night in Canada continues in just a moment.
What's that? Just the finishing touch for our new apartment.
Hey, can you play the drums?
Is that your status symbol? Hey, with those drums, we can have an official opening for our apartment with a little more to it. Come on, give us a drum roll.
So let's open a beer. And I've got the great new beer with a little more to it. Molson Festival Lager Beer.
Don't overdo it.
Wait till you guys try Festival. It's got a little more to it. A little more of what you're looking for. A little more flavor, a little more pleasure. Let's make it a festival.
Molson Festival Lager Beer. The great new beer with a little more to it. A little more of what you're looking for. Molson Festival Lager Beer.
It does have a little more to it.
Dick Irvin back in the broadcast booth at the Montreal Forum, where after 2 periods of play, the Canadiens lead the Toronto Maple Leafs 3-2. This is a busy Saturday in the National Hockey League. This afternoon on the West Coast, the New York Rangers down the Los Angeles Kings 4-1. Malone, Park, Hadfield, and Rattel scoring for New York. Peters scored the goal for Los Angeles. The Detroit Red Wings lead the Boston Bruins 2-1 in the second period in Detroit. Day and Libet have scored for Boston and for Detroit rather, and Bailey for Boston. At the end of the second period in Pittsburgh, the Chicago Blackhawks are ahead of the Penguins. The score there is 3-1, and Gotti, Makita, and Pappen have scored for Chicago. Wojtowicz for Pittsburgh. And in Minnesota, playing in the first period, the North Stars lead the St. Louis Blues 2-0. Bill Goldsworthy has scored both goals for Minnesota. As I mentioned here at the Forum, 3-2 the score. The Canadiens over the Leafs. Dickie Moore is our analyst tonight. And Dick, whenever there's a major coaching change in a team, people wonder about a change in the style of play. Have you seen any change tonight here, major change in the Maple Leafs?
Well, I think it's very evident tonight, Dick, in this Toronto style of play. It's a lot more open than usual, believe me. There's chances at both ends of the rink. And I think it's more of a spectator game. It's more pleasing for the spectators. And although whether they're going to remain playing this style remains to be seen.
Well, we've got some videotape highlights from the second period, and our first highlight is the power play goal scored by the fellow who's got the puck right now, Normie Ullman. As we mentioned, Ullman started the play and then finished it off in fine style as Ward slips him the pass, and in it goes. And Dick, I think there's a point here you'd like to bring out that proves that Ullman is truly a real old pro.
Yes, that's right, Dick. Although Ward did make a fine play to Ullman, and you notice from here breaking in, giving that backhand pass. But what I'd like to point out how Ullman waited for that puck to come up. Normally a player would reach behind and go for the puck. Norm kind of waited and braced himself so the defenseman wouldn't take him out and just waited for the puck to come ahead to his hockey, and he didn't hesitate. As soon as that puck hit his stick, he put it between Vachon's legs.
When a team has as many youngsters as the Maple Leafs do, you've got to rely on some of the old-timers. And Davey Keon, I thought, has played an extremely good game here tonight. Well, we're going to take a look at another highlight from that period, and this time it's the Canadiens' turn to score with Jacques Lemaire finally tallying on this play. Dick, that starts the way down in the Canadian zone on the power play. Rousseau to Richard. And the thing to watch here is Lemaire parking himself in front of the net after the puck finally gets back to Serge Savard at the point, and Edwards really has no chance right here.
There's something else to point out to the youngsters, Dick. How Lemaire, after making his pass to Savard, didn't remain in the corner. He moved right out in front of that net, waiting for either to tip that puck in or here he is here. He's moving right in front of that net. You notice Edwards does make the stop, and Lemaire's right there to put it over him.
Dick, I mentioned Davey Keon. Perhaps you could comment a bit, because you were mentioning before that you have also been impressed with his play this evening.
And Dave's off to a fine start again, Dick. I was talking to Dave on the telephone last night, and he's thrilled. Of course, he's been named captain. It's a really nice thing. He's a real good fella. He reminds me a lot of Henry Richard, who I played with Montreal here. And it's nice to see him off to a fine start like he is.
Dick, we'll check with you at the end of the game for the three-star selection. And now here again is Ted Darling.
Okay, Dick, and now let's take a look at the standings in both the Eastern and Western divisions. First of all, in the East Division, the New York Rangers on top with a total of 18 points following their victory over Los Angeles this afternoon. And Boston, Detroit, and Montreal all tied with 15 points each. Detroit leading Boston right now, and of course Montreal leading Toronto. They could move up ahead of Boston. Then Toronto in fifth spot with 10, Chicago in the cellar with 7. Over in the Western Division, St. Louis on top with 14. Then Oakland, Philadelphia, Minnesota all tied with 9 points each. Pittsburgh 7, Los Angeles in the cellar with 6. And here at the Forum in Montreal, the score at the end of 2 periods, the Montreal Canadiens 3, the Toronto Maple Leafs 2.
Engine can let you down at the most inconvenient times. It doesn't take much. In fact, just this much engine deposit can stop your engine cold. Only new SO Extra with the engine cleaner prevents engine deposit buildup as you drive. Get clean start, clean performance. Keep running on new SO Extra with the engine cleaner for more miles of trouble-free motoring.
Montreal 3, Toronto 2 with the third period upcoming. And now, Dick Urban has an important message.
The Muscular Dystrophy Association of Canada is now holding its annual drive for funds from coast to coast. 20,000 Canadians, mostly youngsters, are victims of this mysterious disease. Let your generosity help research find the cure. Help win the fight against muscular dystrophy.
Scoring in the game for Toronto, Oliver and Ullman. For Montreal, the mayor has 2 and Ted Harris has the other. Dick, I think that your favorite Western football team, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I know they'll be playing Calgary. I think that's your favorite team. And, of course, there's a big sudden death football game in the East tomorrow, Hamilton at Toronto.
Well, of course, this is the time, Danny, when football fever reaches the height in Canada. The Stampeders took care of Jackie Parker's BC Lions, but I still like my Jolly Green Giants to be down here in Montreal at the end of the month in the Grey Cup game.
Richard at center, Lemaire and Redmond on the wings for Montreal. Keon, Smith, and Oliver from the face-off. Oliver to Glennie, over on the other side to Dory. He winds up for the high drive. Harper racing in there to take over for Montreal. Third period underway, 3-2 for the Canadiens. The pass for Richard. He couldn't come up with it, and Dory is back there for Toronto. Dory, ahead it goes to Keon. A pass intercepted by Lemaire, and Keon knocked it out. Harper for Redmond into Richard. Richard trying to come up with in the corner. He centers it. And Glennie feeds it up on the left wing. Redmond shooting it back in. And it's Lemaire romping to the other side against Floyd Smith. Richard goes in, and it's knocked out over the line. Oliver now turning on the speed, takes the shot. And Harper behind the net, losing it to Oliver. Out in front of comes to Smithy. There's a shot by Keon on the short side. And Vachon had to be quick by covering up on a low drive by Keon. Harper ahead for Richard. Horton hands it off to Smith. He takes the long shot toward Vachon. And the Leafs are making changes, so are the Canadiens. Harper ahead on the right side for Redmond. Redmond down with Backstrom and Lemaire. And in there for Toronto is Ellis. He lost it. Horton recovers. Leading the attack for the Leafs. Ahead it goes to Ullman. He takes the long shot. Henderson couldn't get it. Vachon to Provo. Ahead to Backstrom. Lemaire coming up in the play. Here's Backstrom, and he couldn't get away from Quinn. Horton up on the right side. Ellis at center with Ullman and Henderson. They're over the line. Here's Ellis getting set for the shot. And a great save by Vachon on a fine move by Ellis. There it is off the boards to Ullman. Trying to dump it in front. Taken on the play by Harris. Puck is loose. Canadians can't get out. Henderson wrapped it back in. Harris over to Provo with Ferguson and Backstrom. Provo across the line. Back to Backstrom. Here's Backstrom on the backhand. Hits beside the net on a shot by Provo. Ferguson leaving it on the board for Provo. He's checked by Ullman. Backstrom has it, getting set to center it, and the Leafs start out. It's Henderson out over the line. Ellis is trailing the long shot. Henderson going to the board. Tying up Harris. Henderson has it. Henderson trying to get in front, takes the shot, and it's behind the net. Dory shooting it. There's going to be a penalty. Fulford missed the rebound off the board. Harris trying to clear it. Finally, Ferguson touched it. Ted Harris will go off.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
Raw, brute power. That's what we built into our new battery. 35% more muscle than the next battery in our line. Made possible by unique polypropylene construction. It's so good, we guarantee to replace it free if it fails to hold a charge while you open the Atlas Red Brute. There's a bit of the Brute in every Atlas battery. For a trouble-free winter, get an Atlas Red Brute from your Esso dealer.
Ted Harris, 2 minutes for slashing. The time, 2:53.
2:53, a slashing penalty against Harris. And the Leafs, who need a goal to get back on even terms with the Canadiens, have their power play alignment of Fulford, McKinney, Selby, Glennie, and Ward. It's Glennie at center, goes to the right side, dropping it back to Ward. Ward feeding it in to McKinney. McKinney flipped it in wide. Now here's Selby with it. Back it comes to McKinney. He winds up for the shot. He's wide. It's to the other side to Glennie. Glennie shooting it in there around the net to the corner. Goes to McKinney, trying to center it out in front of Fulford. And he couldn't get the shot away. Savard dragging the puck for the Canadiens. Russo is up front with him. Carrier on defense with Harper. And we have a minute and 20 seconds remaining in the penalty to Harris. Selby to McKinney. He's over the line. A pass for Fulford. He missed it. Glennie takes the shot. Here's McKinney. Going toward the corner. Into the corner it goes. Selby couldn't center it. McKinney rolled it ahead, and Savard shoots it down the ice to Edwards. Johnny McClellan, the coach of the Leafs, now sending out Smith and Oliver. Fulford leading a four-man Toronto attack. Up on the wing, it goes to Oliver across the line. Oliver to the corner, centering it. It's off the boards, and Savard just cleared it out over the line. Now Keon comes on. Glennie, a pass to Ward. Ward right through center. It's picked up by Smith. Smith is over the line, trying to feed it in front. Now Oliver turning in the corner. Back it comes to Keon over on the other side. It's got in there by Gorey, and it's cleared finally into the corner. Oliver centering it. LePerriere knocks it out over the line. Now Russo goes to Idols down there, but Ward has it. To Gorey. Gorey is over the line. Trying to get it in front, and Keon just fails to get in there to deflect it. Harper shooting it down the ice, and the penalized player, Ted Harris, is back on. Icing against Montreal. Chicago 3, Pittsburgh 1. Minnesota 2, St. Louis 0, Detroit 2, Boston 1. And with 5 minutes having been played in the third period here at the Forum in Montreal, Canadiens 3, the Leafs 2. Savard against Ullman in the corner. Backstrom comes up with it. Now he's wheeling away with Provo over the line ahead to Backstrom, and he just failed to catch up with it. To Ferguson, he checks. Here's Ted Harris going in, takes the shot. Ferguson scores!
The Canadiens have enjoyed great success tonight on rebounds, and John Ferguson was the man in the right place that time as the puck comes from the point. Harris letting it go. It bounces right onto Ferguson's stick, and in the same motion, he just fires it right back into the net. Edwards had no chance on the play. For John Ferguson, his third goal of the season.
Ted Harris et Ralph Backstrom à 5 minutes 18 secondes. Canadian goal scored by John Ferguson, assisted by Ted Harris and Ralph Backstrom. The time, 5:18.
5:18, Harris and Backstrom getting the assist on the goal by Ferguson. 4-2, Montreal. Ellis playing it up on the board. It's grabbed off by Glennie. He's down with Ullman over the line, dropping it back to Ullman, and he lost it on the board to Savard. Down with Provo, over the line, back to Ferguson. The shot, it's wide. Now it comes in front of Backstrom, the rolling puck, a backhand shot that was missed by Savard. And there's going to be a penalty to the Montreal Canadiens. Henderson ahead to Ellis. He winds up. He rattled that shot off the leg of Ted Harris. Ferguson, it would appear, is going to get the penalty.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Snow tire sale. Big savings on the Atlas Winter Grip Safe and the Atlas Weather Guard S. Save on snow tires at your Esso dealers now.
John Ferguson in the penalty box.
Canadian penalty to John Ferguson, 2 minutes for cross-checking. Cross-checking is a charge against Ferguson on the replay, right there in front of the Leaf net, and the double replay, you might say, on Ferguson's part, and he's in the box for the next 2 minutes. Davey Keon out there on the point. Keon has 2 assists tonight and has reached the 500-point mark in his fine NHL career.
Fulford, Selby, McKinney, Ward, and Keon for the Leafs. Selby cleared it to the corner. LaPerriere slapping it down the edge. Russo and Savard up front as penalty killers. Harper on defense with LaPerriere. Leafs getting their power play organized, led by their captain, Dave Keon. 4 of them out at center. Keon a left wing pass to Fulford, and he couldn't get by Harper. Harper is upended. It's grabbed off. Keon, over it goes to McKinney. There's the shot, and it was blocked by LaPerriere. Here's Ward getting it back to Keon, back to Ward. He winds up for the shot off LaPerriere. LaPerriere upended by Selby. To the other side, Russo. He fails to clear it out, back to Keon, into the corner to Fulford. He flipped it to the side, and holding on, a back out. Minute and 10 seconds left in the penalty. Provo skating into the circle before Kepler got around to dropping the puck. Harper cleared it off the glass and then off Keon's stick. And he presents somebody with a souvenir. And with the Leafs having the advantage and contact made by a Leaf player with the stick above the shoulder, the face-off will go down into Toronto territory. That assist picked up by Bobby Orr means now that he is tied for the scoring leadership with Phil Goyette. Goyette has 7 and 12 for 19, or 2 and 17. Detroit 2, Boston 1 in the third. And the face-off, Keon getting organized for the Leafs up on the boards. It goes to center. LaPerriere to Harper. He sends it back into Leaf territory. Keon ahead to Selby. Fulford has the pass. McKinney is on the right side. They can't get by Harper. He jammed in on the boards. Fulford is back for it. And we have 40 seconds left now in the penalty to Ferguson. LaPerriere around the net, out on the right side. And Provo pokes it into the center ice area. There's Ward. He set up the power play goal earlier, scored by Ullman. Ward shoots it in, and it's called for icing against Toronto. 12:17 remaining in the hockey game. 4-2, Montreal leading Toronto.
A special feature coming up in the near future on Hockey Night in Canada will trace the traditional rivalry between these two great hockey organizations, the Maple Leafs and the Canadiens. You'll see some classic hockey film from the early 1930s, plus, of course, highlights some key Stanley Cup games between the teams of the more modern era. That's a future feature here on Hockey Night in Canada.
Ullman facing off against Provo. Ellis has it in the corner. Henderson is the other forward for Toronto. Henderson has it on the wing, dropping it back to Dory. Dory, a right wing pass. Ellis racing in against LaPerriere. Henderson trying to keep it in there. It goes loose to the boards. Provo shooting it out over the line. Ferguson now has 2 seconds remaining in his penalty. Back on. And LaPerriere and Harper were particularly strong on the Canadiens' defense with the Leafs having their power play out there. It's Provo coming down with Backstrom. Provo trying to get around Dory. Now Glenny feeds it ahead to Ullman. Ellis is coming up on the play. Over for Ellis, getting set for the shot, and he's wide to the far side. Provo clearing it into the center ice area. Savard picks up a Glenny pass. Edwards picking it off to Glenny, who got an elbow from Ferguson. Now Henderson out over the line at center. Ellis coming up. A quick shot, and he rattled that one off the outside of the goalpost. Henderson did. Harris playing it to the far corner. Cournoyer with Backstrom. Ahead for Backstrom. Ferguson coming up on the play. Backstrom shoots it. And Edwards had no difficulty with that shot. Horton for the Leafs, hitting the Montreal line. Working on the right side. Dropped it back. Picked up by Lemaire. Ahead to Richard. Richard getting set for the shot. And a gloved hand stopped there by Edwards. At Quinn. Off the skate of Keon, it goes to Smith. His pass for Oliver, stopped by Redmond. Lemaire winds up for the long shot. We're nearing the midway mark in the third period. And it's 4-2, Montreal leading Toronto. Savard cleared it out. Oliver returns it. Now Harris to Lemaire. Checking, getting a bit close again. Oliver, a back pass over to the left side. Redmond to Richard. Keon couldn't come up with it. Richard coming down with Redmond. Redmond has it on that right wing. He's shooting it on the right side. He shoots. Edwards, the rebound in there. He goes! A hat trick for Lemaire.
And in every case with Lemaire for his 3 goals tonight, he's picked up a rebound. Here it is in the end zone camera as Redmond sweeps in. Edwards makes a great save on this shot. As Redmond lets it go. There's the save, but he kicks the rebound out in front with his stick, actually. Richard misses on the try as Edwards falls, and Lemaire drills it. Edwards was up on his knees trying to catch the puck, but couldn't quite make it.
Canadien goal scored by Jacques Lemaire, assisted by Mickey Redmond and Henri Michaud. The time, 10:09.
10:09, Lemaire with Redmond and Richard assisting. 5-2, Montreal leading. McKinney back in with Fulford. McKinney takes the shot wide. Selby racing to the far wing against Cournoyer. Harper having difficulty clearing it out. Dory for the Leafs. Flipping it in, Beliveau. Starting out with Cournoyer and Rousseau. Beliveau. A pass for Rousseau, but Cournoyer got in too quickly on the right wing. The attendance tonight, 17,811. Dory to Fulford. Selby at center, over for McKinney. McKinney into the corner. Stops to get away from LaPerriere. McKinney doing some fine work on the boards. Out it goes to Dory. He takes the shot, and he hit Harper with it. Harper ahead for Beliveau, down with Rousseau. Beliveau over the line. Sliding on the ice with Selby to stop Beliveau. Out to the right wing boards. Here's Harper winding up for his shot. It goes wide. Right over to Cournoyer. And he missed as he stood at the lip of the crease. Harper hauls it in with 3 Canadians stranded. 8:43 left.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
You never can tell when your engine will let you down. Just this much engine deposit can stop your engine cold. Only new SO Extra gasoline with the engine cleaner prevents engine deposit buildup as you drive. Get clean starts, clean performance. Keep running on new SO Extra with the engine cleaner for more miles of trouble-free motoring.
8:48 left in the game. 5-2 Montreal over Toronto. Ellis, Ullman, and Henderson facing back from Ferguson and Provo. Ted Harris back into his own zone. Ullman chasing him to the corner. Provo is bumped. Pellick is on the ice for the first time, number 4. Ferguson ran into Henderson. Canadians shooting it into Leaf territory. There's Pellick with it. Up on the boards for Henderson. Henderson getting skating room. A right wing pass to Ellis. Ellis circles and is knocked off the stick by Backstrom. So Ellis is going to try it again. Gets away from Backstrom. This time shot by Provo. With Backstrom. Offside against the Canadiens.
Danny, one question that a lot of fans were asking when they came into the Forum tonight, where were you when the lights went out? We had quite a power failure in Montreal. In fact, in a large part of Quebec province here today, most areas around here were totally without power for 3 to 4 hours this afternoon.
Taking up my position on the first tee was delayed as a result of the power failure. Had we had it tonight, it would be serious as far as the hockey game is concerned. Of course, more serious for everybody at night. Here's Ferguson on the left side, shooting it in. Edwards left it for Pellick. Pellick, a pass stopped by Provo. He feeds it into the corner. Ferguson going in after Horton. Ferguson is knocked to the ice. There's a shot by Harris. Ferguson knocked to the ice by Horton. Here's Pellick racing for Toronto. He's down on the line. A back pass to Ullman. That's offside against Toronto. 7:36 remaining.
One of John Ferguson's theories is that Tim Horton is perhaps the strongest player he faces in the National Hockey League. And Ferguson had that theory driven home in rather vigorous fashion down in the corner just a few seconds ago. Horton really belted him into the glass.
Keon trying to work his way through. LePerriere gets it out over the line finally. Here's Glennie going in with Keon into the corner. Keon racing in after it, trying to center it. Harper hands it off to Lemaire. He's the big scoring story here tonight. Lemaire is with 3 goals. And there's an offside call by Shetler. 5-2, Montreal leading Toronto. Keon getting it back to Dory. He takes a high drive in among the spectators. And watching Davy Keon out there, Dick, he has come up with a sizable growth of hair since last year. He's had a lot of great moments in many, many rinks, Keon has. This is how to come Worsley. But I think his biggest moment would have to be here in a playoff game. I think it would be 1963 when the Leafs eliminated the Canadiens, score 3-1, and Keon got all 3 goals. There he is over after Harper on the far side. Oliver comes up with it. LePerriere being watched by Keon. Richard working in the corner, dropping it back. Oliver intercepts over, goes to Keon, a backhand shot, Dory scores!
Jim Dory scoring the goal for the Maple Leafs to make it a 5-3 hockey game as Dave Keon picks up his 3rd assist here tonight on the play from out in front. As Keon backhands the puck right there, it bounces over to the side, and Dory, sweeping in, fires it high into the net behind Vashon. So with 6:47 left in the hockey game, the Leafs now have narrowed the gap to a 2-goal margin.
Alexander de Keon et Murray Oliver à 13 minutes, 13 secondes. Toronto goal scored by Jim Dory, assisted by Dave Keon and Murray Oliver. The time, 13-13.
13-13. Nothing unlucky about 13s there for Dory. He gets his first goal of the year, 5-3. Cournoyer passes it over on the wing, intercepted by Fulford up to Pellick. Pellick lobbed it toward the corner. Savard around the net. It goes to Russo, being watched by Horton. Now Russo starts out, makes a nice move to get away from Fulford. Over it goes for Cournoyer. Russo goes over and knocks it off the stick of Pellick, and it goes over the glass. Late in the third period, Detroit 2, Boston 1. And it's still Chicago 3, Pittsburgh 1. They're into the third period, well into the third period. And Minnesota 2, St. Louis nothing. And these two great rivals, Minnesota and St. Louis in the West Division, Dick, I would think that they have a complete sellout in Minnesota tonight, Bloomington.
There has been no line juggling here tonight. Ruel and McClellan sticking pretty well the way they started out the game. The center ice matchups all through the game have been Keon against Richard, Fulford against Beliveau, and Ullman against Backstrom.
And right now, it's Fulford against Beliveau. Canadians with the defense of Harris playing up at Savard. There's a shot right on. Kicked off by Ebrich. The centering pass cleared away by Pellick. Russo trying to get it. Selby knocks it to the far right wing. McKinney starting up with Fulford, cutting down through center. Fulford goes into the corner around the net. Fulford getting set to center it. He still has it. It comes back. There's Pellick taking a weak shot. Savard for Montreal. Working his way out. A pass for Beliveau. Over the line with Russo. Beliveau trying to set up Russo. And a great defensive maneuver by Horton, who got his stick down on the ice. McKinney for Toronto. Couldn't get by Harris. Savard with Beliveau way over on the wing. Russo has it. Russo across the line. And Pellick takes over for the Leafs. Pellick coming out with Ullman, Henderson, and McKinney. Now McKinney goes to the bench and Ellis comes on. There's his pass stopped by Henderson. Over the line, Henderson shooting it wide. Ellis chopped it around the net. Cournoyer playing it to the other side. And Ted Harris has it out to Backstrom. Backstrom, a pass for Cournoyer with Ferguson. And it's called on the offside. Now we have less than 5 minutes. 4:43 left.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal. We will return when play resumes.
Two Atlas snow tires are on sale now. The Atlas Winter Grip Safe, a great all-around snow tire. Only $18.88, no more. And the Atlas Weather Guard S, a top snow tire value for no more than $23.88. Studs for these tires are also on sale. So slip down to a participating Esso dealer now.
Prices quoted are for the 775-14 Blackwall. Atlas snow tires for a trouble-free winter from Esso.
Lining up for the face-off, just in over the Canadian blue line. Harper gets it out to Backstrom. Ullman, now it's Henderson going in, a pass to Ellis. Ellis cutting, takes the shot, he hit beside the net. He gets it into the crease. And Vachon had to be very alert on his speedy Ellis, who picked up the rebound off the net and then flipped it into the crease.
He certainly had to be alert, Danny. Here's the replay as Ellis comes down around LaPerriere on that right side. Watch that puck bounce right out in front of Vachon. He pounces on it with Henderson standing right there.
Back it goes. Glennie winds up for the shot. Backstrom starting out with Ferguson and Provo. One man back. Backstrom over to Ferguson, and he shot it high and wide. Provo getting set. Takes the pass. Now he centers it to Backstrom. Backstrom checking Ullman. They fight for it. And Ullman cleared it out over the line. Harper feeds it back in. And now we have exactly 4 minutes left in the hockey game. Glennie ahead of goal. Dory racing in there, and he almost barged right in there. Dory has scored one of the Leaf goals. Now it was gloved ahead. Provo to Ferguson, and that's the reason why it's called back.
The Chicago Blackhawks have taken a 4-1 lead over Pittsburgh in the third period. Pat Stapleton scoring Chicago's fourth goal, unassisted at 6:16. The Blackhawks off to a very shaky start this season, but they seem to be well underway tonight to winning their fourth game in their last 5 outings, so they are coming on.
And they started that very successful string right here at the Forum 2 weeks ago when they bombed the Canadiens 5-0. There's Horton on the backhand. It goes off Richard. Keon playing a great game as usual for the Leafs. Couldn't center it. Richard, a lead pass for Redmond on the right side, and the shot is wide. There's a shot right on by Lemaire, and he almost had his 4th goal of the night. Lemaire can get that shot away very, very quickly. Redmond clearing it in over the leaf line. Horton being watched by Richard. Out to center, Harris comes up with it to Redmond. He backhands it to the corner. Richard against Pellick. And Pellick is bumped by Redmond. Redmond trying to center it. Let's see, there may be a penalty here. Redmond and Pellick shoving each other vigorously. Oliver and Lemaire doing some shoving. And who's that that's waltzing there with Harris? Pellick and Redmond getting in some right hands.
Started a few seconds ago on the original play down into the lead zone when these two players, Pellick and Redmond, collided in exactly that same spot. And that time they went at it again. I believe Pellick was getting a penalty in the original call. And then they ended up trading punches over the linesman's shoulder. And I think, Danny, as you mentioned, both of them landed some pretty good right hands. Now, Pellick in particular let one go that seemed to find the mark. Well, there's the usual scene of the scattered gloves and sticks when it's all over.
I think they did that to the accompaniment of Waltzing Matilda, didn't they? It was Ward who was moving around there with Ted Harris. There's Mickey Redmond, 24. Linesman Bob Myers.
I had to smile at Lemaire and Oliver, normally a couple of mild-mannered chaps on the ice, and they were locked in a loveless embrace. They ended up on the ice. No punches thrown in that case. And there's Mickey Redmond. And as usual, the hometown player in a situation like that gets the round of applause. And obviously Redmond is being assessed a 5-minute penalty because he's on his way to the dressing room. And there's the boos that greet the Maple Leaf player as he starts for his own bench, and now they head back to the penalty box. So Ashley is sorting this one out now over at the timer's bench.
3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the game. 5-3. Montreal 5, Toronto 3. Pellick went over toward the penalty box. Now he's going to the Leafs dressing room. He also, in all probability, has picked up a major, although somebody had been signaled for a minor, and it could be double minor. There's a great shot at Pellick.
Good end zone cameras. We even got one in the corridor now. This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Cash in on the cold weather protection of Esso-Rad antifreeze. Now only $2.95 a gallon at participating Esso dealers.
So we're like you have two majors and a minor. An extra penalty to Pellick for 2 minutes. His name, or at least his number, is on the board indicating 2 minutes. He's out to the game. There's in
Pour Canadien, Mickey Redmond, 5 minutes pour Saint-Laurent. The penalty to Toronto, Mike Pellick, 2 minutes for cross-kicking and 5 minutes for fighting. And to Canadien, Mickey Redmond, 5 minutes for fighting. The time, 16:55.
16:55. Two majors and a minor, with coincident majors, of course. You have the Canadiens playing with a full complement. The Leafs are short-handed. Beliveau tries to get it. It comes back to the line. Savard slides the pass over to Ted Harris. Smith is sitting out the minor for Pellick in the penalty box. Now Beliveau coming up with it. Plays it off the boards for Savard. Savard going in there. Into the corner. He turns, getting set for a pass out to Rousseau. And he booms one off the glass. Cournoyer trying to center it. It comes in front. It's cleared to the left wing to Selby. Selby ahead to Pulford. Pulford coming down against Ted Harris. Pulford couldn't get by Harris. 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. 5-3 Montreal. Savard couldn't get by Glenny. He's waiting for Selby to come up with him. Glenny has it. Plays it over off the left wing board. Pulford winds up for the shot, and he hits Savard with it. Savard. Out slowly now with Beliveau and Russo. On the other side, it's Cournoyer who takes it. Cournoyer trying to get it in front to Savard. Dory couldn't get it out. They score! Russo!
Bobby Russo has scored a couple of goals this year and a quick shot just like this. And here we see Dory with the puck trying to flip it down the ice, but it is deflected right onto Russo's stick, and he just lets it go right back, and Edwards caught flat-footed on that one. 6-3 the score for Bobby Russo, his fourth goal of the season. 1:56 left to play in the game.
Scored by Robert Russo, unassisted. The time, 18:04.
Unassisted Russo. 18:04. Here's Henderson going in. Takes the shot. He couldn't get complete control of it, but he was on the target with Vachon coming out. Backstrom over to Provo. Down with Ferguson. The lead pass broken up by Quinn. Provo hooked it in there over the line. Offside. That scoring play. Russo with Pelikoff at 18:04. Montreal 6, Toronto 3. LaPerriere over for Harper to Provo. Horton going in to cover up for the Maple Leafs with Backstrom in pursuit. A lead pass goes out over the line now with Ullman in possession. Ullman in Canadian territory slides it over to Quinn. Quinn off the boards. A weak shot. Provo try to clear it out. Harper off the boards to Backstrom on the left wing for Ferguson. Ferguson shoots it. Edwards hands it off to Horton. And now, in this hockey game, we have exactly 1 minute remaining. Quinn playing it ahead off the stick of Ullman. It goes to Ellis. He winds up with a hard shot, grabbing the rebound before it hit the ice with Vachon, with Henderson racing right in there. And Vachon played a lot of hockey for the Montreal Canadiens this season. He has played 10 of their 13 games, and he has played the last 8 games. He's been hot since that night Chicago got 5 goals beyond him. Don't forget, Dickie Moore will be on hand with the 3-star selection at the conclusion of the game, which is exactly 42 seconds away. Back to McKinney at the Leaf line. Now Glennie on the right side plays it to the boards to Fulford. Richard try to set up Lemaire. Glennie with Fulford, McKinney shooting it in. Savard. He's played a great game for the Canadiens tonight. Ahead to Richard, to Russo. Russo into the corner. Shoots it around the net. Lemaire. Glennie takes over against Richard. Now Lemaire shoots it right in front of the Leaf net. Dory ahead for Selby, and he couldn't get it. And they're beginning to count off the seconds. There are 5 remaining. Savard in behind the net, being watched by Selby. Selby covering it. The game is over, and Montreal defeats Toronto 6-3.
Shots on goal in the third period by Montreal, 14 by Toronto, 9. In just a moment, our 3-star selection and summary.
Once I told you 1,000 times the shower is cold. No, it's not. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Why don't you call the school and rent an Esso water heater?
Rent an Esso water heater?
Yes, you can rent an Esso water heater. And right now, you get the first 2 months rent-free. And you get lots and lots of hot water. 3.5 times faster than gas and up to 8.5 times faster than electricity. Watch. In 15 minutes, you get this much hot water from electricity and this much from gas. But you get 20.5 gallons of hot water from an Esso oil-fired water heater. Rent an Esso water heater now and get the first 2 months rent-free. It's really something to sing about.
Mesdames, Messieurs, voici maintenant les 3 étoiles pour le match de ce soir, celle que choisie par Robert Pépin et Dickie Moore. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the 3 stars of tonight's game as selected by Robert Pépin and Dickie Moore. La première étoile, the first star, Jacques Lemaire. La deuxième étoile, the second star, Serge Savard. Et la troisième étoile, the third star, Dave Keon.
Well, not much doubt about the first star tonight. Jacques Lemaire, a real opportunist for the Canadiens, scoring 3 goals. Other Montreal goals tonight by Ferguson, Rousseau, and Harris. It was Ullman, Oliver, and Dory scoring for the Maple Leafs. The shots on goal, the game total, the Canadiens out shooting Toronto 47-25, and Montreal won the game 6-3. Hockey Night in Canada continues in just a moment.
Atlas snow tires. They're on sale at your Esso dealer now. 2 kinds. The Atlas Winter Grip Safe. Quiet running, 4-ply nylon, super low profile design, a great all-round snow tire for only $18.88, no more. And the Atlas Weather Guard S, even wider and lower. It's got more traction than the Grip Safe, but it's quieter. A top snow tire value for no more than $23.88. Atlas studs for the Grip Safe and the Weather Guard S are also on sale. Bargains like these won't last forever, so why let it slide? Slip down to a participating Esso dealer now.
Prices quoted are for the 775-14 Blackwall. Atlas snow tires for a trouble-free winter from Esso.
Now let's meet the first star in tonight's hockey game, Jacques Lemaire's 5th, 6th, and 7th goals of the year. And Jacques, I think this is your first hat trick, is that right?
That's right, and I'm very glad I've done it this year. My first 2 years, I tried to get run, and I guess I didn't have enough chance, but tonight was my night.
Well, here's the goal coming up now, the third goal in that third period after Mickey Redmond took the shot, and then Edwards tried to clear it back, and it goes all the way back to you, and you know, once again, a man in the spot as you were when you picked up those first 2 goals. What happened on the first 2?
First 2, the first one, I guess, is that the one that Ted Harris had the shot?
That's when Cornway had the long
shot.
Right.
He had the shot just near the blue line, and I was going on Edwards. The puck, he made the save. The puck went right on my stick, and I had the open net.
Of course, you picked up the second goal, and then the third one in the third period for the hat trick, and now you've got quite a road to go now going out west.
Yes, we've got 4 or 5 games on the road. It's going to be pretty hard because we've got injuries, like GC is a good man for us, and I guess we're coming around good on the road.
Jacques Lemaire, thanks very much, and good luck on that trip out west.
Thank you.
Now let's go back up to Dick Irvin.
Elsewhere in the NHL tonight, the Chicago Blackhawks lead Pittsburgh 4-1. That game in the third period. It's Detroit over Boston 2-1, also in the third. Minnesota over St. Louis 2-0 in the second. This afternoon, New York defeated Los Angeles 4-1. And so the final score: the Montreal Canadiens 6, the Toronto Maple Leafs 3. This is Dick Irvin bidding you good night from the Forum in Montreal.
Brought to you by Molson, brewers of new Festival Lager Beer. Imperial Oil and Esso dealers, agents, and distributors. And Ford, the Better Idea Company, with better products for you.
Hockey Night in Canada is protected by copyright. Unauthorized reproduction by any means, in whole or in part, is not permitted.
CBC's Electronic Highway brings personalities in major centers across Canada together for a discussion on the vital subject of pollution. Next on CBC Weekend.
Imperial Oil, on behalf of your neighborhood Imperial Esso dealer, presents Hockey Night in Canada. Tonight, the highlights of the final game of the Stanley Cup Finals between Montreal Canadiens and Detroit Red Wings. And here's Wes McKnight.
How do you do, sports fans? This is Wes McKnight. This is the big night in the National Hockey League, the final game for the Stanley Cup for 1955. It's the second year in a row that Montreal Canadiens and Detroit Red Wings have come right down to the seventh game before declaring the Stanley Cup championship. No team in this series so far has been able to win a game away from home.